I'm a white trash man, and I like Milwaukee's best. I'm a white trash man, I love NASCAR, goes hand in hand with an ice cold PBR. Ain't got no class, ain't got no cash. I've been on over. You can kiss my white trash. All you white trash folk who like your smoke, step outside, gonna get real high. Ain't got no class, ain't got no cash. I've been on over. You can kiss my white trash. Whoa, yeah. Ain't got no class, ain't got no cash. I've been on over. You can kiss my white trash. Ain't got no class.
Oh, yeah, welcome to the NoOner Show. We are back and we are live. How's everybody doing?
Hey,
Oh, the pew-pews for you Vern White.
what's up, homie? How's it going?
Good, man. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Can't complain.
Heck yeah. I just took one of those, vape stick hits where you're like, whoa, it takes you to another place for a second. And then that right as we were coming in, I was like, uh-oh, got to get my head back. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't expecting that kind of hit. I was expecting just a regular kind of, okay, CBD when it was doing me. But now it was much more powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Way intense.
Goodness gracious.
Get it out.
I mean, coughing it up, choking it out. How you doing, man? How are you, sir?
I am doing wonderfully. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Happy to see you. Ready to catch up. How was your week, man? I saw Friday night was awesome. Or I'm sorry, Saturday night was awesome. You did
It was fun. I did something kind of different. I ended up not breaking because I was kind of upset at the end.
Right.
You know, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, so I didn't break cards. But it was different. It was something different that I tried. I tried a pizza party,
it was fun. Yeah, man.
Yeah. While watching a slap competition, and just enjoyed myself because that's a sport I do enjoy.
Heck yeah. Yeah, man. And shout out for listening. Got to tell you, I'm already getting DMs. Hey, man, can you please, which it's up on, shout out if anybody wants to see last night's Power Slap time, it's up on Rumble right now, and then I'll put it back up on Instagram. But yeah, man, people are already wanting to share and make clips. So good. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it going. Why not? Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing about that, bro. Like I realize, nice, very
No. I'm
nice.
just
Yeah. Oh, just to let you know, like they messed up for me when they were like, "This ain't about money. No one's gonna make money. No one's about to get rich." I'm like, "Well, if it's not about money, then I can just do what I want. Then cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm
Yeah.
about to troll the hell out of people. You know, I mean, let's go." So,
there's a lot of feelings.
yo, too many.
A lot of feelings.
And you'd think with something as fun and wacky as Power Slap, people wouldn't be all up in their feelings about it like that. You know what I'm saying?
But there's a ton. I mean, it's like it is. There's a lot of times, you think you should be walking on eggshells, but you're just stomping on them. You know?
Or there's me, and I just ask the honest questions, and people are like, "You can't say that." I'm like, why not? Why not?
I mean, you were on point. There was nothing wrong with your question.
So
there's nothing wrong with your question at all. I just was waiting for the answer. Now you're in it. Now you're in it. You are in it now.
No, hey man, I think I gave the answer right. I mean, if the answer comes down to you're not kissing the right ass, well, okay. Well, then that's what I say.
What did I say like a month ago?
Same thing, basically, man.
Yeah,
basically. Man. I thought about you. I was like, yeah, it's just about kind of kissing the right ass, then, isn't it? So, anyway, all good. That's why we're here and we do what we do because we're not even interested in kissing the right ass, man.
My lips are too thin.
Yes. And that ass is too flat. So neither one of us are going to have a good day.
No, we're always going to have a good day, bro.
No, I mean with somebody who's is expecting us to kiss their ass. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. That's just not going to go well.
No, not at all. Never. So,
I think you, though, I think you're the type of guy that really, really gets your point across. You get it across. Right? I mean, if it takes 5-6 times, you're gonna get it across.
Right.
And I'm more of the type that just says one thing one time and then like I'm out.
Right.
But that's cool, man. That's cool. I dig it.
Well, I mean, if you're on a show and it's about creating something interesting, you know what I'm saying?
You did, man. You created some heat and then some fire and some smoke inside that show. I'm gonna say that's probably your best show. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That
means all of it should be way better, Vern. Okay, that's all I'm saying, man. All of it should be way better. If that was
here on. Is that what you're saying? From here on, all of it.
Yeah, I will aim higher. Clearly, so. But that's kind of the fun thing about a Power Slap show is that as soon as people start taking it serious, they become the joke, right? That's the joke, that you're taking this serious. It's Power Slap. Like, the only people that should be taking it really seriously are the people who are depending on it to pay their bills and feed their family, and dudes getting slapped really hard in the face. Yeah. Other than that, it's for your enjoyment. And at the point that, you're like, Stone Cold really doesn't like The Rock, and they mean it this time. Well, okay, you're the one. You're the mark. Okay, so.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna say though, I did see. Did you see that little clip from the champ from my boy Anthony Blackburn?
Which one?
About
people talk so much, and I try to watch them all, but
I know, but this is next level, bro. I would have think you might. He mentioned he got online and he just had his phone and he made a post and it goes, I think he said 5'11" or maybe 6 foot, 188 pounds. Super fan as a slapper. Yeah.
I didn't realize Superfan was so 5'11", 188. That's a big dude.
Dude, he's tall. I mean, I think he's a little bit taller than me. I think I got a little more meat on me.
Sure.
He does.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, he's really tried and made an effort to get healthy, get healthier,
Superfan?
Yeah, Superfan. Yep. Yep, since Power Slap 6.
Yeah,
7.
man,
Seven.
I would love to see him do it if he wants to, man.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
He's a natural badass, dude. Here's the thing: he hunts. We were talking the other night, man, and he just starts sending me pictures of dead animals.
Oh, yeah, I got his
skulls.
beavers. He sent me pictures of all the beavers that he's caught in time. You know, like as he's walking out to the trap. I've seen his deer blind. I've seen his land. You know, where he's shown me where he hunts, and it's on his land and stuff. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and he's got a beautiful family.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I do think. Well, because actually there was a time him and I were like, how about we do a card man versus a super fan?
Slap fight?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, the problem is I love both of y'all. I'll be like, no, like my initial is yes, but then I'm like, no, I love y'all. I don't want to see either one of you slap fight. But
yeah. I know, and I got a big fat head, you know, so and I know he's long and lean. So he'd be bringing that swing. I know I'd get smoked with some good shit, you know. But yeah, I mean, we were joking around about it. Actually, I don't know if we were joking. We were joking. I think we were joking about it. Yeah, I don't think it was serious.
You know, man. I mean, we can do it. We can do it. How about? And then I'll go up against Michael Mann in this slap.
Oh man.
That would be fair.
Shizzle. Dude,
it wouldn't be fair. An 8-year-old girl wouldn't be fair against him in a slap fight.
You have to go left-handed. You have to go left-handed, and it has to be from the opposite side, like you're right-handed. All right? Yep. That's how you have to do it if you're going up against Michael Mann. That's true.
That's funny. Let's see here. Let's make some. Okay, so
that's fun.
The Beyond the Slap Son dude versus Terry from Welcome to Slap Son versus Terry from Beyond the Slap. That would be a good match.
No.
You don't think?
You're wrong.
Okay.
Slap Son versus Corey.
Okay. Yeah.
You see, because I mean, here's the thing. Terry, when he says he's sick and stuff, he does get sick, right?
Yeah.
He does. And like he even he gets to the point sometimes, like I used to be with like my sciatica, and I had to go to like almost a year of rehab to learn how to breathe, how to walk with my center, how to turn everything again correctly. But like he kind of doesn't stand up completely straight. So I call that as an unfair match, and I don't think he's healthy enough to be in slap.
That's fair. I'm just Corey
having fun and slap son. That would be oh man.
Dude, dude from Slap News and Beyond the Slap. That would be an awesome women's slap fight. I would love to see. You know what I'm saying? We need more females in the sport, dog.
You better kill me. I'm gonna be another rapper dead for popping off at the mouth with shit I shouldn't have said.
So what's been up with you, man? So pizza party. Why didn't it turn out? Okay, I got to be honest. So in my defense, I was with you for about an hour and a half.
That was awesome.
I'd already driven 4 hours and done a show that day. So by the time I got home and got in the groove with you, I was already like a little sleepy, dude. And I crashed out while we were watching the fights themselves. And then when I woke up, you were already off stream. But it was like 4 or something when I woke up. So what happened? Excuse me, where you said it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. What happened?
Okay. Let's just say a month and a half ago, I would have been there.
Okay, sure.
At it, and I have a favorite. Because I choose to do that. I choose to have favorites and level them. You know,
and that's your right.
Yeah, and I have a favorite, and dang, it ended no contest after one clubbing.
Oh.
And so then, though, I imagine to myself, it would have been a lot like PS7 for me when I went to watch Donnie and Makini because they were both my friends, right? And it ended in the DQ that it did in Power Slap,
right? And
so, and I made the statement on a couple podcasts before that I don't travel 2,000 miles round trip 1,000, over 1,000. It's like 1,100 one way to Vegas from my house.
Sure.
And, I was like, I don't travel that far and pay the amount of money I pay for a ticket at the seats I like to have to go and see these fights, be like, oh, sorry.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah.
So, I mean, and in Makini, actually, in another podcast, put me up as defense. He was like, yeah, Vern said, the card man said, it's like he said, he didn't travel 1,000 miles to watch a DQ, to watch a foul, so it's just, and I still love this dude, man. I love this dude. I just think the other fighter should have kept fighting.
So do you feel it's more on the fighters or on the promotion when all of us as fans have to experience that, man?
I think if a fighter can get up and keep going, it's what he's paid to do.
Right.
Right. I mean, geez, how many times do boxers just get, their bells rung, and if it's a three down TKO per round, you get knocked down 3 times, that's your TKO. Well, then they get knocked down twice every round for 10 rounds, but yet they keep getting up and going.
That's true. Well, and I yeah.
I mean, there is a defense for the CTE. Go. I mean, that's fine, and that's cool, and I get that, and I believe in that also. But I'm also a little bit selfish because I want to see the fights.
Well, sure. Well, and I think it's up to the fighter in that they're grown men, and
exactly.
Until it's not, I guess. But if it was one club and then they were saying DQ after one club, either he was really messed up or it was
no
cheesy.
Contest. It's a no contest.
No contest.
There.
Oh, okay.
Not a DQ.
Yeah.
That was a no contest.
Fair
But
enough.
it's a no contest on their both the records,
Right.
But I will say this: he shouldn't have kept going.
Well, there you go.
I mean, honestly,
but don't let that affect you, man, to the point of you don't do a card reveal because it's something you had no control over, man. Don't let that affect you like that.
Oh no, man! I'm just such a big fan, and
I
wanted to go so well for him. I really did. I mean, I'm so positive for him and his family and stuff. That I was just like, nope, in stream.
You know what really helped me with that for football was fantasy football.
Quitting watching.
Yeah. Fantasy football made me become so much less of a loyalist to any one team. And then it makes you realize that, like, dude, the problem is, if I get into it, and I'm studying, and you realize, man, this whole thing has to be rigged. When you really start digging into the numbers and the way things work, and like, okay, so every year a hot streak team is going to have a weird loss out of nowhere, and that's Vegas odds. That's Vegas getting back. So last year was the Detroit Lions. No one expected them to be as good as they were. Don't even get me started on the fact that Washington should not have been anywhere near the Super Bowl. Get the hell out of here, dude. So
it was the rookie.
It was the
QB. It's all about
no, it was because the fix
money.
was in, bro. You know what I'm saying? The fix was in. So it was Washington and Philadelphia because it was an election year, man. So anyway, it's
remember back in 2001 after September 11. Remember that Super Bowl?
Was that the Giants?
No, it was the Patriots.
The Patriots.
It was one of their first or second Super Bowls. It was their first, I believe. 2001 is what started the Tom Brady dynasty.
Right.
Wasn't that the year that Drew Bledsoe got knocked out and Brady stepped in?
Yep. And past that, man, think about this. KC, man, where unstoppable and Taylor Swift was caping up for the current administration at the time.
Yeah.
And as soon as they lost, Kansas City started magically losing. Dude, if you watch, you can see. If you watch football closely, And I love football. Don't get me wrong. Born and raised on it, especially, as we know, we're college football guys, right? Exactly. I mean,
90s.
that's one of the things I got right on my desk. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I got so many more of those things all around here. But anyway, and I think college football is a little bit lesser extent because there's just a higher error margin of error because they're younger guys. And that's why it's more fun to watch, I think, anymore. But with the NFL, man, you just see those little calls. It's those little first down calls. And they even made a proposal. They've got a proposal out where a false start would no longer result in a first down. And I think that is huge because that takes a lot of power out of the ref's hands because you can call false start on just about any play, just like holding. You watch these slow-mo plays and you see all this holding. And the guys in the booth drive me crazy because they just, doesn't look like pass interference at all. No, it wasn't, Bob. Okay, well, that's a 40-yard gain on that penalty. Moving on. Not, wait, whoa. The whole game has changed on this one erroneous flag. Can we run it back, please?
Yep.
And that's why you can't have replay on pass interference calls because it's pass interference, false starts, and holding are how Vegas and the powers that be control NFL. I promise you this time. So,
well, yeah. I mean, why does a referee really need to have an earpiece during a football game?
Yeah.
Why do they really need to be mic'd up? That's why there are hand signals. That's why the hand signals were developed back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't need the referee to talk. We don't need to have him being told what to do in his earpiece.
Well, and then they get the call from New York, as they say, right?
Oh.
Meaning the calls come in from New York. Shout out to everybody in our chat. Thank you so much, Amy. They talk about it. They're like, New York was watching the play and they called the refs in and they reviewed it and they did. So there's people in an office somewhere in New York that are deciding what happens on a field in Michigan or Texas or Florida or Nebraska. So it's nuts, man. So
and there were some absurd calls. I mean, I didn't start watching football last year because I was tired of it. I mean, I did hardcore fantasy, since 2011. Like in 2014, I was in 21 leagues.
Wow.
And
see, I just have one league and I just take it way too serious. You can ask my wife. So last year I did the set it and forget it. Like literally I was live streaming during the draft. I pretty much set the auto draft on until I got Jacobs because I had him on the Raiders and I knew how good he was. And he was low. No one was grabbing him. I'm like, this dude is going to be one of the top 3. And he ended up being one of the top 3. And then I grabbed Jordan Love, who ended up being meh. But I later got homeboy from Detroit Lions. I got him, Jared Goff. He was on the waiver wire. I just picked him up, man.
See,
so
the draft really, I mean, it matters some.
Yeah.
Waiver wire pickups. That's where championships get won in fantasy football.
I'm so glad this year because now I got you.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
Notice that quarterback, the second week.
Yeah.
That's going to bust out and take the first and second down and then some of the third downs also. Especially these young ones, man, they use and abuse quick. When I grew up, you had to sit behind Marcus Allen until Marcus Allen decided to retire. You had to sit behind whatever veteran there was until they chose to retire. That's how that went. And nowadays, they get them in from college and boom, let's beat the hell out of them. Get them out there. Make those moves, use their speed so long as they got it, use it. Yeah. I think that's smart. I think that's the way to go.
I prefer and I like the new running back by committee because you keep both running backs longer. And most of the time you're going to have a lighter outside guy that if you can set the line well, he's going to break. And then you have your bruiser that's going to be good for your 3 to 4 yard, just beat them up, make them tired kind of guys. I like that. I think Indy is doing a great job with their running game on that level. They just need a quarterback. So
did you say Indy?
Yeah. Indianapolis.
Yeah, the Colts.
Yeah, because they've got Sermon
team?
as their bruiser back. And no, they're not my team. I
Oh.
just was paying attention. I would say probably, man. I was cheering for Detroit because I wanted to see him win a Super Bowl. One, I felt like they had earned it. I felt like they were going. I also thought Green Bay was going to go. I cheer a lot for Green Bay. I guess if I had to be pinned down, I'd say that was the team I cheered for. So, but I think they were too young, huh? Oh, Broncos. Oh, Jared out Buffalo Bills. You're a Bills man.
Bills. But that's because he went to Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I went to school for 2 years with the University of Wyoming. So I was naturally drawn to Josh Allen and wherever he could have went to Seattle. I was still would like him, But
Right.
yeah, and with that poor guy, he just can't get over that hump, that team. They just can't get over that last little hump.
Man, nobody's paying for them to go to the NFL, Vern. Brother, card man. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you
Well,
don't
it's
have to
just-
take
it's just
my word for it.
Yeah, the Cards though, what was it? 2 years ago, Indianapolis, their rookie, the Colts' rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I know you're talking about because I had him for a
Darn it.
second.
His name slipped my mind. But he was supposed to be the next best thing to.
Anthony Richardson. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And everybody, I wanted to say Anthony Edwards, but I know that's basketball, so I kept my mouth shut. But yeah, Anthony Richardson. But if you were 2 years ago, if you were to pull his card and it was an auto, a banger. You got money for that.
Yeah, man.
And it just shows.
They said he was, and he has a Jalen Hurts style to him. And I get it. They were like, he's going to be the next Jalen. And he has kind of that run style to him, but
he's not Jalen.
just it just hasn't developed. But also, people forget, like anything else, the quarterback and running backs are only, 30-40% of the story. You got to have a great defense and your line. That it's very smart. Yeah. San Francisco, in my opinion, did it right when they saved money on Brock Purdy, invested in a line, and look, it took him to the Super Bowl. And they lucked out by getting McCaffrey from the Jags, but that's
all that kind of turned into a coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
I feel bad for
Coulda,
Christian.
shoulda.
Christian McCaffrey is a perfect example of what you're saying. They rode him. He did magical stuff, and now his body is just like, I'm breaking down on you now. His body is literally breaking down. He tried so hard to rehab, came back for one game, got injured in that very next game or 2 games. He was back, and on the second game, he was out. So, yeah, heartbreaking.
Now what he'll be is he will hop around the league now.
Yeah. Well, and he's a prize fighter now. He's not going for the belt.
No.
You know what I mean? Now he's going for whatever fight gets him the most money. He's a prize. I'm not mad at him. Go be a prize fighter, dog. If people will pay to see you, of all the hundreds of people in the NFL, you are one of the biggest draws in people. Of all the people in the NFL, you're one of the top 10, 20 guys that they're going to buy a ticket to actually see play. Good on you, man. Go to the Cleveland Browns.
He's the closest. I had this just in my head of an all-time great. McCaffrey. He is the closest with his moves. He's the closest to Barry Sanders.
Very cool. Yeah.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah. Shout out Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Heck yeah.
We have to go, Oklahoma State, right? Oklahoma State, though, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you don't got to look, dog.
You can't have it all. You got to say state or OU. You don't get to have it. Oh, I get all of Oklahoma.
We got Jalen Hurts is the OU guy. Baker
yeah.
Mayfield, OU guy. Mark Andrews, OU guy.
I can't say nothing because Nebraska, they've had 2 years straight till this year, 2 year streak with no draft.
Wow. Well, we did bad in the draft this year, man. Look, since it's a whole nother story, man. Do we want to? I don't even know if we want to do a whole show about football.
We don't have to.
That's why I love our show.
You can go
tune
into
in
baseball.
sometimes.
You want to go into
Yeah.
frequencies. You want to go into some
No, I
quantum
know.
physics. What do you want to do?
I was just going to complain about OU football for a minute because the once great dynasty that was OU football is now under a corporate shill of a guy, and he's the kind of coach. This is how crazy it is, okay? Because it would cost us like $50 million to just buy him out, right? This is how crazy it is. They have replaced offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, athletic director, team manager. They've replaced all of these people because they won't just replace the crap. Oh, and quarterbacks, on and on. They just won't replace our mediocre coach, Brent Venables. So what are you going to do? Bring back Bob Stoops, I say. So.
Well, yeah, Bob Stoops. That's all right. Hey, I like the way our Matt Rule's going though. I like the way the Huskers. I mean, we're pulling in, we're taking players away from big time programs.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just got the top ranked quarterback that was going to USC.
Yeah, you guys are looking mean. Yeah, so
we are mean. The whole state's mean. The state motto is Nebraska. It's not for everyone.
Is it? Is that?
That's it.
It's so funny, Midwestern, because Oklahoma is okay. You know what I mean? It's like Oklahoma's okay. Yeah, how do you feel about your home state representing with pride? It's okay.
Hey, here's a funny story for you. I was heading down to Austin for gigs. I had a weekend of 3 gigs on that yacht. I posted on my Facebook just recently. And to get from Nebraska down to Texas, you got to cross just like seriously 18 miles of Oklahoma through that panhandle, right? But there is a state sign there that welcomes you. It's nice and big and stone, and it takes piss so well.
Come on, man. What did that sign ever do to you? Okay.
The state. It was the state. It's the only way I could get back at him for a couple games at childhood.
Oh man, Nebraska beat the hell out of us too. It was a great.
But
that was the respect we hated.
Years.
Yeah, man.
Man.
It was a respectful rivalry. Are you guys still Big 12?
No, we're Big 10.
Big
we're
10
in there
now.
with Ohio State and all the big boys.
Yeah, well, we're SEC, and some might say that's a pretty decent sized conference too. But
yeah, but we've just been stomped the last 12 years. To be in a bowl game last year, holy cow! To be able to people be able to do something with football in December and celebrate it. We as fans, we hadn't seen that decades.
Yeah, I think one year we played national championship, Big 12 championship. But yeah, that's
we did against you guys many years.
Yeah, that was
Barry Switzer years.
Yeah, Barry Switzer. They still Switzer's liquor out here. He still has a couple liquor stores. So.
Hey, I like that guy. I respect that guy.
He was man. I remember, funny story, man. When I was a young comedian running the streets of OKC, years and years and years ago, me and a buddy of mine were in downtown Oklahoma City where the club was, and as stand-ups, you're club rats. Saturday night, you get in free to the club, you hang out, you shake hands with the headliner, you try to learn. And Barry Switzer came to the club, and he had to have been, I think he was like 72 at the time, and maybe 68, but he was well over 68 or 65. Let's just say he was well over 65. He had the biggest. I didn't even know they made Mercedes cars this big. It was a huge Mercedes car, and he had a woman who was maybe 30, because I remember at the time I was 20-ish. Yeah. And she looked way closer to my age, me and my friend's age, than she did Barry's age. And that was his date, man. I was like gangster. So, and he was literally drinking a glass of whiskey and ice as he was walking to his car. Like the bar just let him take the drink out because he's Barry Switzer.
Like a trailer park boy?
Yes. I'm telling you. He was just like, hey, boys. We were like, hey, coach. And he was like, hey, boys, he had his arm around this young woman. He literally, and he just put the thing on his roof, got in his car, grabbed the drink. And I'm like, well, yeah, because if a cop stops him, he's still Barry Switzer in Oklahoma. You know what I mean?
It's pimping. That is pimping now. Much respect. Well,
Yeah,
and
man.
then we've got Tom Osborne, who's been married since he was 19 and still married, and he's 98, and
Good for
he
him.
still has a say
Yeah.
in what goes on in the Husker football program.
Well, how's that working out for you, right?
Real damn nice. We got baby Mahomes.
Fair. All right. We'll see. Hey,
But
man.
no. I'm just, that's kind of sarcasm. I tried
Yeah.
to throw a little bit of a tone of sarcasm in there.
Well, I know
Because,
you were stoked because you guys got a new good quarterback, you were saying, yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, he's good. We'll find out if he's good enough.
Right, right.
You know, I mean, yeah, he made it to a bowl game. It was his freshman year. That's pretty big. I mean, for a program that hasn't been to a bowl game in many, many years. You know, so I'll say that's something positive, but I'll also say that he didn't look like Patrick Mahomes to me on the field.
Yeah. Well, it could take,
His face does.
some time. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Look, it can take some time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hope he sticks around for that time.
Right.
And he should, you know, look at the NIL money that's out there.
Yeah, man, we've lost some good players at OU because of NIL, you know.
Yep.
So what's funny is Dylan Gabriel, who went, wasn't that good. Like and they were clamoring for him at other schools, and I think we're just spoiled because we've had this run of NFL star quarterbacks always at OU since, you know.
Well, not always, because when it was the Big Eight,
I'm talking about, the century, dog. Come on now.
No, I'm going way back though. I mean, that Oklahoma used to be just like Nebraska used to be, pretty much just a straight wishbone up the gut. We're coming at you and we're gonna beat you down, and that's how we're gonna win. And we'll throw 5 passes.
Yeah,
that will be just over the line as like a screen. You know, I mean, but that was what Oklahoma and Nebraska both were. But everybody's had to change and advance. And yes, for those 6 years, I mean, well, let's even go back before. I mean, he's in the line too. Dang it, no, he was an Oregon Duck. I was thinking Marcus Mariota, but there's another quarterback before those guys that you had mentioned also that spent many years in the NFL. So yeah, you guys had like a long run.
Jamel Holloway was the guy. But yeah, no, I'm thinking too, you got Jason White, and then you had, who wasn't great, but did play in the NFL, still is, but he's like a third string guy.
Yeah.
Then you had Baker. Then you had,
I love that dude.
Yeah, I love me some Baker Mayfield. I got to meet him and stuff. And he was our last Heisman Trophy winner, by the way. Then homeboy for the Cardinals. Short dude.
Yeah. Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. And then Jalen Hurts was our next guy for a while.
For a year.
And then we had, 2. And then we had year and a half. It was like a year. He came in halfway through his season and stayed for a full one to get his degree. So, because he didn't want his degree from Alabama, he wanted to go to a quality university. So then,
I'll go with that.
And then, man. And then since then, we haven't had anybody. I mean, then Dylan Gabriel was supposed to be the one. And now we've got a dude out of Midwest City, Oklahoma. Shout out my hometown, a guy named Michael Hawkins Jr., who looks really good. And then we just got a guy, supposedly. But we'll see, man. I just don't believe the hype anymore. You know what I mean?
Because you're a coach.
Exactly. So
it's hard to trust any kind of player you get. I mean, and if a player of the quality, like you're saying, of Dylan Gabriel transfers.
Yeah.
Come on, whatever the alumni or whoever's in charge there, take a look at that and get yourself a new coach.
Fair enough. Speaking of coaches, speaking of players, the one thing I did want to bring up, I just had a topic mind idea. And and I want to keep it a loose idea. I never want to come in with hard topics, but
So,
I was, I did a show Saturday. It was the first show I'd done in like 6 months, and it was the first out of town gig I'd done in like a year.
how was that? That looked fun. I saw the ending.
It was a lot of fun, man. It was
I should be up there.
yeah,
right
everybody
behind her
dancing. Yeah, man. It was an Oklahoma Tulsa party, man. It was
Yeah,
a
dude.
pure Tulsa party. It was beautiful.
Yep, looked fun.
It was just a lot of fun. A lot of my friends, those were all my friends. A couple people there I've worked with for years, and those are just. It's cool when you can work with your friends because a lot of gigs you show up to, you don't know anybody there, and it's cool, and you're nice to them, and you might make a friend. But it's work. It's fun work, but people don't understand. Like road gigs, you might show up and you literally know no one there, especially as a comic. The band or whatever, usually there's 3 or 4 or 5 of you at least that know each other.
Yeah.
But as a comic, you might drive by yourself 12 hours, show up somewhere. You don't know anyone. You do your show. You make local friends there, and then you leave. And so to be able to work with people that I know and I love, that was really cool. But dreams, that was the word, man, because I was there. And I had a great time, but I was looking at how, there were 5 total comics, and there was a DJ there, and there were other comedian friends of ours and stuff that came to hang out. And I was just thinking about how everybody we are all in this room. We're all looking or going towards the same goal, but we all have different reasons and we all see it differently. And then being a guy who's done it for 20 years versus watching a dude who's been doing it for 4, you know what I mean? And he's still got the stars in his eyes, where I'm like that old bitter jaded dude in the corner of the cigarette. So I'm that old hooker. $25, whatever you want. You
You got to give yourself credit for what you have done.
No, but I'm not hating. I loved it. And then there were people older than me. There were ladies older than me there, couple or one at least, who is still new in comedy, but just has that dream and that joy and just about what dreams are, man.
Yeah. And
how we achieve them. And the older I get, the more I believe that you create your reality. It was cool. Rich Voss, if you know who that is. He was on the Tough Crowd days back with Colin Quinn. He was on O&A. He's just one of those dudes, but he was always the whipping boy, right? He was the one that always beat up on, right?
He was a Michael Mann.
Yeah, basically he's Rich Voss. Yeah. But they invited too. It's kind of their role. It's every you need that guy on the crew. So, but anyway, but but he was talking to him, and Rich Voss was talking about he's like, man, I've come so close so many times with TV shows or movies that just didn't get going. And he's like, I've had some of the nicest no's. He's like, but I've come so close so many times. And Joe asked him in this podcast, he was like, do you think that has anything to do with you? Do you think you might be creating that? Do you think that's your energy? Because you're focusing on the no's, and maybe subconsciously, sometimes you get rejected so many times, you kind of expect it. You expect a nice no. You expect what you do to be perfect for them, but for some reason, them not to take it. And then that's what the universe delivers to you. Now, I also understand there are talent levels. There's luck. There's breaks. There's somebody for instance, right now, right? If Dana White called me and said, hey, man, I love what you're doing with Power Slap Time. You know what I mean? And, what we want to fly you to Vegas and talk about putting you under contract. Well, that would be luck, or that would be knowing a guy, right? So I understand all of that. And I understand there are very funny people in comedy clubs that, you know what I mean? You will never know on a national level, but they are hilarious. I can think of guys like Ralphie May, who passed away, who was the next Sam Kinison, without a doubt. But nobody knows who he is unless you're a comedian, but he was a comic. All comics know Ralphie May.
Kidding me, Ralphie May?
Yeah, so you know who he is, but you're an inside guy too, so. But you ask the average person on the street, do you think Ralphie May was one of the funniest guys alive when he was alive? And I got to open for him. He was one of the first guys I ever got to open for. So, yeah, man, I understand that. But I think about dreams and how your dreams also change. You know what I mean? My dream at one time was to live in a 1-bedroom, cool condo apartment. You know what I mean? Yeah. In New York, Chicago, or LA. Now I want land. You know what I mean? Now I want a little land. Now I want to be left alone.
I do.
You know?
I wanted my actual goal was to be an organist at a Major League Baseball field.
Nice.
That was my goal. But
That's hard in Nebraska, right? Y'all don't have a major league team.
you know, we have now a summer league
Yeah.
amateur team, but everybody's starting those leagues all over the nation. You know,
AAA.
yeah, to where college kids can play during the summer in a league for like a month and a half, and then
Nice.
go back to college and continue to get better at baseball. You know,
Right.
so we get a lot of 2-year student baseball players here, and then they go back every year for their deal, and then it's just a rotation of kids from different places. So, but it's called the West Nebraska Pioneers.
Heck yeah. Go Pioneers. So,
Yeah.
so of course, I got to ask, why was that your dream? As you know, a lot of kids have dreams. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. That's all I wanted. I remember that vividly. Like I remember that being the first thing I legitimately thought and wanted to be. Like in school, when they asked, "What do you want to be?" I'm like, "I want to be an astronaut." So,
No,
I realized how hard it was, and then I'd be a comedian. So I'll
No,
just make fun of astronauts.
constantly said, I constantly said, organist at a major league ballpark because I love baseball. I played baseball. I wasn't too shabby. You know, I was pretty good. If I'd have been nicer to the coach, I'd have even been better. You know, it's just one of them teenage you grow up things, and you can tend to not have a lot of respect for others, and then that affects like your playing time, no matter how good you are.
Sure.
So I loved baseball. And then also as a younger kid, I would always say I wanted to be a baseball player, foremost. And my dad would always say, "You ain't gonna be no baseball player." That was my dad, you know. Most
Rough.
kids' dads are out there, you know, throwing the ball with them, throwing batting practice, uh, you know, telling them how great they are and doing stuff. My dad tells me, you ain't ever be no professional athlete," and then takes me down to the armory and we start shooting guns at targets because that's what my dad loved, was shooting, you
Fair.
know.
Yeah.
So it was like he was like, "Oh, you want to be a professional? Well, let's go down here. I'll show you how to be a professional," because he was a professional, we'll say. When he was in the military, he was a professional.
Very good shot. Knew his way around guns.
Oh, wait, whoa, wow, no. He could take a dime, and I have that set up out there. He could take a dime, shoot that dime, watch the spin of the dime through the spoke, say, "Watch this, boys," shoot again, and make it spin the other way.
Wow. Wow.
That's how good he was.
That is a hell of a shot.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. But I can do this.
Let's go.
Yeah, you're expecting that now, were you?
Yeah, no. So okay, so you went from wanting to be the athlete to training to be a shooter, which means you probably are a pretty good shot yourself, because anytime you do something from when you're very young, you know what I mean? You just get better at it. You know, that Malcolm Gladwell thing of anytime you spend 10,000 hours doing anything, you're going to be pretty proficient at it. So, which makes me think of something else, but which is nerves, but that's a whole nother thing. But so how did that translate into being a musician and wanting to be a musician at the ball fields?
Well, because at the time I really didn't like shooting. So that really pushed. It was either shoot or music. That was, I mean, my parents were older. You know, they come from a generation where there was no plumbing indoors.
Right.
They killed to eat, like hunting. I mean, they didn't not, I mean, but they had to go hunt. They had to hunt their food. They had to have their own gardens. They had to have their own milk cow. They had to have their own meat chickens. They had to have their own layers. They had and their mules. My grandfather, he drove a team of mules. So I mean, they would go they would go outside because the outhouse, and everybody remembers the I think is it the Montgomery Ward magazine that used to come out, Montgomery Ward,
Believe
Montgomery,
so. Yeah.
yeah, and that was the ass wipe, middle of the winter, you know, go out there to blizzard and sit in that. Oh man, I mean, and that's how they got around. Also, was in a wagon with a team of mules.
Yeah.
That was on my mother's side, you know. And my dad's side, his dad, grandpa, he would go, Grandpa White, he'd go fishing every day for food. You know, and then he'd catch enough fish to where he would go to town and go to the diners and then sell fish. Oops, sorry. Yeah. Sold the fish to the diners for some money. You know, I mean, my dad told me stories about going out in the fields and shooting squirrels with his 22 and cooking them on a shovel head and eating squirrel meat.
Nice.
White trash.
But
Survival.
think of how soft we've become in 40 years, right? Like think about just 40, 50 years. I mean,
Well, this would have been back in 1950s, early
Yep.
1950s.
60, 65 years, but in less than a generation or 100 years, we've gone from catching and eating your own food on a daily basis to starving to death if Uber Eats doesn't work. Okay, there are kids right now in cities that if Uber Eats didn't work, they would starve to death. They don't even know how to cook food in their home, much less go get food, right? So,
Oh man, it's
I
gonna
wouldn't know
be
what to do.
scary.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun, scary though, because I'm gonna sit back and laugh and watch and have fun.
Okay, and so to kind of weave back around, so you didn't like to shoot and you wanted something else. And given your family's background, you knew you wanted to take a different path. You wanted to do something different than just be like a shooter hunter, hand to mouth survival dude.
Yeah.
You wanted to follow up. You had clearly you were an artist. You had creativity in you. You had music in you. You had an expression in you that not everybody has. What they say, 8 to 12% of the entire population. So you realize you were one of the 8 to 12%. And did you think maybe playing Oregon at the baseball field was a good way to start? Or were you just young enough at the time that you thought that would be the deal? Like what
I just thought that would be just the biggest dream because you'd get a paycheck, you'd go to the fields, and you'd watch the game, and then just do it. You can just play music. I mean, you can do it. Just do, take me out of the ball, get it, but do all that stuff. What a life, I thought, growing up.
I still think that sounds like a great life. Just say.
I know, but they've gotten away from that.
Yeah.
Everything's digital and everything's recorded and it's push button. Just like, I mean, it just is. I'm there might be maybe I'd say I'm gonna guess maybe 5.
You muted yourself, brother. You muted. You leaned on something. There we go. Yeah.
I would say that there might be, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 teams that may have a live organist still. I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm sure that number is really low.
So the dream was to be a baseball field organist. Now, from the roots of that dream, for people that don't know, and get into it if you like, from that dream, you actually got to play professional music, big hitters, big stages across the country. So that journey, You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it
from
happened.
wanting to be an organist at a baseball field to being a professional, you know what I mean? Pianist, professional musician. What's that like?
It's awesome.
Yeah, I love
I'm
it.
not gonna lie, man. I had a solid 7 years of just radness. You know, when you're actually signing boobies behind a fence, that's pretty cool. I mean, they got to come to you, and then they can't even get to you, but yet they want you. Rad, man. That's a cool life. Being backstage with whoever. I actually best advice that was ever given was at the Full Throttle during the 70th anniversary. And we were opening for Billy Ray Cyrus, and then after sound checks and stuff, we all hung out right off backstage in this backstage area that's just concrete openness. And he was just sitting there talking to all of us. His guitar player came and talked to us. His drummer was a chick, and she was sexy, man. I mean, and she could play them drums. Oh, I mean, it was just. I mean, those kinds of things
Yeah, man.
are rad. And then you're standing on the stage at the Full Throttle while the Full Throttle is a TV show, and I mean, and then there's these cameras as you're playing on stage. There's the Full Throttle TV cameras like coming up right up to you on your face by your hands down their keyboard and doing all this stuff. I mean, it was I felt like I had done what I'd set out to do.
And you were where you were supposed to be, where the universe would have you. I think a lot of times we feel displaced. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we feel like we're not in our mix. We're not where we're supposed to be. So, yeah.
I think where I live, I probably am not supposed to be, but it's the easiest way to continue living the way I live, which I enjoy.
And that's key. So,
yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, that was it just, but the shooting never stopped. I mean, you can still, there's still time that you go down and you got to compete against the other kids. And, I mean, we had firing lines. We were at the armory. Yeah. And, it's just a different kind of upbringing, I guess.
I'll say, yeah.
Such opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
Brain,
By the way, shout out Superfan in the building. Pew, 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 pew. Official crew on the PT Pod show now. Officially. We love you. We love you, dog. So that was 8 minutes ago. I'm learning to check the new chat. So basically, long story short, we're doing a whole new production thing right now. And we're trying to figure that out. So I am struggling through that as we do our show sometimes. But anyway, no, I absolutely understand it's where the universe would have you. And sometimes you feel born displaced. Like there are people who are like, born and raised, never left this town. Or, I know a few people that, either have never been on an airplane or only went on an airplane once their whole life or only started going on an airplane in their 30s. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. Because I was traveling since I was so young, but, once again, never felt like I had a home. But I will say, like, dreams amalgamate, right? So, and that's one thing that the stand-up reminded. First of all, sitting backstage, man, you get that taste. It's like I could only describe, don't drink, and I haven't drank. But it's that I could only describe it as maybe like that, I could assume, in that you get that tasting and you're like, oh, I remember this, and the rush and the feel and the applause and the laughter live.
Yeah.
But then you get home, your back hurts, you drove for hours, through panic attack in the rain because you were stuck in between two semis and and the thing is at that point, you're not making the money worth the time. Yeah. and then your phone is dying, and then for some reason, I got to get this looked at. For some reason, my charger in my truck just does not work, man. Like you can plug in my phone, and it'll be like 17 hours before charged.
Yeah,
So
does it read like a use original charger and cord to?
yeah, try
charge
another something or something. Yeah. So I gotta get that looked at. But anyway, of all the problems I got, you know what I'm saying? I can charge my phone. So if I did more road trips, I would look into that. Fair enough. But yeah, man. But now it's about the streaming. I want this to do good. I feel like it's been replaced. And at first you want to bite on it, but then I'm like, no, man, there's a better way to do this. And you work so hard to get 80, 100 people at a show. And, it's just, it doesn't make sense as much as what my friends are doing and what the business is going to, which are these meetups. In fact, there's another one going on, I believe, next month. There was a big one last month, and they're happening darn near monthly now. And it's, podcasts like ours. Shout out to everybody listening. We do meetups, you know what I'm saying? And we, do the thing where it's like, hey, we're all going to be in Vegas. Come out to Vegas. And we'll do a show maybe near or around a power slap time. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I got the comedy clubs out there, so we can book our own comedy show and do a comedy show out there. And then go see the fights the next night, maybe something like that. Or we do a meetup in Dallas, who knows, or Nebraska. And we bring a couple of cool bands of comedians out. I'm talking about on your land, dude. I want to do it something like bring a flatbed trailer out.
My land's not big. I mean, it's big for the neighborhood. But yeah, I'm selling this shit, I think. I am. I mean, it's too much. Too much.
Come to Norman, dude. Come to Norman. Come to Norman. We love you here, man. You'd love it.
The thing is that I just would feel bad because, like, my best friend, my childhood best friend, the one I met when I was 4 years old when I moved to Geary, Nebraska. I mean, he lives there just right outside Oklahoma City. I mean, it used to just right there. And man, I would feel bad because it would be like I feel like I'd be like encroaching on his happy life.
He doesn't own the city of Oklahoma City. It's a big city.
I know, man. But when we were together and we were younger, holy shizzle. We just, no, it was bad.
Is he a musician or artist?
So good. So good. You get so much trouble. But no, I mean, I've always been looking for a landing spot for like the last 6 months too. Because I think I can do better for myself somewhere else other than where I'm at in Gearing, Nebraska. I'm not going to take part in the Oregon Trail tourism, anything like that, or the Mormon Trail or any shizzle. I'm just going to. That's why I just feel like I got to find a better landing. That's a landing spot.
All that corn going unhusked without you there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shizzle. I don't even leave my house when I am here. There's nothing to see.
That's fair.
Well,
man, hey, the older you get, I mean, that's kind of, I think, why I do this because, I
enjoy
get social activity and interaction without leaving the house. Maybe it's, you know what I'm saying? So I love that part of it. So, but hey, man, you got other people here too. That's what I'm saying. First of all, you wouldn't be encroaching on anyone. I don't think he would feel that way. Because at the end of the day, there's people that live in this town I don't talk to. Hell, my father lived here for the first 17, 18 years of my life. I don't know. I was in Hawaii when he died, and I never met the man. You know what I mean? And he was in the state. So, man, look, it's a big state, lots of space. Plus, I'm sure he'd love to hang out. What does he do? Is he in music?
He actually owns his own company. And it's what he does, it's he cleans people's trash cans.
Nice.
The ones that they plastic and they wheel them out and set them out. They get dirty.
Oh, absolutely they do. Yeah.
And people don't really necessarily want to be the ones cleaning them. So he's got like this machine and this. I thought it was too when he came up with it. I was like, God damn, man. And he has always been smart like that. And then kind of lucky, falls into things. He's that guy. And I'm the other one.
Mm-hmm.
We're yin and yang on that. So But yeah, I mean, he runs a company. The thing that I really respect about that family is his wife is the she's an emergency nurse on the helicopter, Flight for Life.
Oh,
She goes
wow.
to every accident, and she's the
Wow.
first one on the ground. You know, so I am whenever she comes back and they visit here, I'm always like, man, I really respect you for what you do, because I can't imagine what you carry inside every day. So much respect to anybody on the Flight for Lives, anything like that, because nobody ever thinks about that kind of stuff.
Right.
But what things they carry, oh my word, I can only imagine.
For
So
sure.
I think
No,
they're rad.
it's-
I think they're rad people to be able to do that, to help people like that.
Yeah, it's a gift, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so funny how we get like I almost can measure a man's softness by the way he's willing to argue on Facebook, including myself and what I was just a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? But it's like you don't deal with life and death. You don't deal with addicts that you're trying to get out of a sober house and back to their family. You don't deal with people whose life depends on this helicopter flight and your actions. Like clearly you don't deal with these things because you're taking silly esoteric shit that will literally change tomorrow. Headlines, the news.
Yep.
Something is horrible today. Today, the big argument is it's the worst economy since 2022. Well, in 2022, no one was saying it was a bad economy, but it was worse than it is now. You know what I mean? It's like it's all a manipulation. Because I promise you, if you're a multimillionaire right now, you don't feel like it's a bad economy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So I know, but I'm definitely not a.
I'm just agreeing with you, bro. I'm agreeing with you.
So it just depends on the people, and I just see people so manipulated, man, and it's why I've kind of made the decision to step back from a lot of other things I was doing because I am passionate about a lot of this stuff, and what I'm most passionate about, bro, is educating folks, right?
Yes.
Not even one side or the other, and yeah, I come down on sides on things, sure, we all do. But more so, it's like, just don't believe a lie. You can disagree with me all day long. And in fact, I want you to sometimes. I need to learn. And at this age, at our ages, over 30, you don't
Over
really,
50.
you're not going to school to learn anymore. The only way you learn is by willingly maybe doing like, what's cool about the internet nowadays is you can take a college course or look into that, which I still do. But the only way you really learn is by disagreeing with someone. Because if I go, hey, Vern, I love Nebraska, and you're like, I love Nebraska too. Hey, Vern, I love pizza. I love pizza too. Hey, Vern, I like rainy days where it's not too cool. I like rainy days where it's not. We don't learn anything from each other. You know what I'm
You
saying?
must question everything.
Yes.
Everything. And you need to learn it on your own. You need to do your own research, your own filing, your own work to learn knowledge. Because we were all cheated out of that as we grew up. At least my generation. We were cheated out of real knowledge.
Yeah.
We were just told a whole lot of nonsense. Yay, America, yay, America, yay, America. And I got to live through those great times. But and then in retrospect, it's like, what the?
In fact,
So I've had to do a lot. And I've graciously, I've had enough time. And I've had time to be able to educate myself and look at things. Leave things out of my life that were a big part at a time, just to do what's right, and get that knowledge. But, because there's a lot of things we're blind to.
Yeah.
But when you get that knowledge, then you just start living your life in that right way.
Best you can.
Yeah.
It's the idea of
We're all flawless. We all have flaws. Every one of us.
The saying or the thought, there's the thing and then there's the name for the thing. And that's one too many things. Is what there's what it is and there's what you label it. And as soon as you label it, you limit it. Because you can't understand it outside of your understanding. And if you're not consistently self-aware that your understanding is severely limited as any human, the smartest man on the planet, whoever he was or is, whoever you think to be, is still severely limited in his understanding. He sees it through his own filters of his own life and own experience. And so anything you look at, you understand, I'm labeling this to the best of my ability, trying to keep an open mind about that I could be incorrect. And so few people look at anything like that anymore. We live in a comic book world where it's like, are you a good guy or a bad guy? You're a good guy if you're on my side. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but you don't even know your side, bro. You know what I mean? So,
You're exactly right there. That just put a shine on some things for me, you know. Just here in the recent past. I mean, yeah.
well, man, one thing you've helped me remember is that one thing you definitely helped me remember in just the short time we've been kicking it, man, is that it's all a choice. All of it. Literally, I mean, not to be morbid or dark, and I know in our culture we look at it a certain way, and I, definitely I'm not me, but it literally is our choice to live. It's all a choice. So if you're feeling terrible, if you're feeling frustrated, angry, stressed, paranoid, whatever, that's a choice. Now, it doesn't mean that's not even a logical supposed choice. For instance, I, driven all around the country, thousands and thousands of miles. Haven't driven much lately because of work, you know what I mean, from the studio. And I basically drive around town. So a couple of years back, I started getting these crazy panic attacks. And I think, I don't know why, driving, right? Just out of nowhere, just white knuckle, and my hand would hurt. I would be gripping the wheel so hard, and, my jaws clenched, and just out of nowhere, like a panic attack, like I'm going to die, like out of nowhere, while I'm driving 75, 80 miles an hour down the road. And I can't explain necessarily where it came from or why, but it happened. Yeah. And, one thing I'm thankful for my mental training and stuff, because I was able to step back in that moment. And that's a good thing about a long drive, I guess, couple hours, is that I was able to observe it and go, watch your body. Look at how your body is reacting in a fight or flight panic mode. And I was like, wow. And instead of, shutting down or going, okay, now the world needs to cater to this condition I have, it's observe this condition. Yeah. Is this something that you can get past, work through? Is this something you need help with? Is this something you understand because you have experience with? All of those things that you can't ask yourself if all you're doing is being there in that thing and not allowing yourself to observe you being in that thing, right? Yeah. So,
sometimes, man, okay, because PTSD, I'll just go there. I'll go there. PTSD, it got, like you're saying, driving. I would be driving in a road that I'd driven for 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. And I'd get lost. And I'd forget who I was, So there's those times where actually there are people that actually are completely out of control and have no idea.
Well, and I'm sorry, I should... Neurological conditions are different, yeah. Because I had seizures, and those are not a choice. You know what I mean? Yes, I
similar though.
Yeah. And I do. I have seizures.
Just a different level.
Not anymore. Knock on wood. But I've suffered from seizures. I take medication daily for seizures. That's not a choice. You know what I mean? No. That is my brain doing something that I don't have an option of now. I have an option of how I respond to it. Sure, you know what I mean. Yeah. Whether I make it better or worse, or how I let it affect me, but. Yeah, I understand. I didn't mean neurological issues. I meant whether we spend our days on social media, or whether we spend our days being angry, or whether we decide that because of a neurological issue, we are limited, or whether we decide I can't work through this one, so I need doctors and medication like seizures, or I can work through this one with proper breathing, meditation, practice. It's just being in a place where you can even make that decision, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think maybe having the seizures and not having that control, brother, because you said you've been there, where when you wake up and you don't know your name, you don't recognize your wife. She's you're in an ambulance, right? You're in an ambulance. You kind of know who you are, But the first thing you think, if somebody asks me my name, I can't tell them. I don't know I don't know my address. I don't know my social security number. I know this woman is like a positive thing in my life, but I don't know I can't tell you her name, kind of thing. Yeah. And
Those aren't firing, right?
yeah. Yeah. So, and that's when you first come out of it. Then, a few minutes later, it gets better and you come back to normal. But, yeah, man, it's
Which is
being
a
able to,
horrible thing to deal with.
no, it's no fun. I don't recommend it.
That's
I wouldn't
something
wish it
that
on anyone. So.
yeah, and that's what I'm gonna say is that's an absolutely terrifying and horrible thing to have to do.
So forgive me. I didn't mean to say that like it's your choice to have neurological issues because your brain is tricky. I did not mean that. I meant like the anger and the frustration.
That option too,
Yeah.
But for those people out there that are like, whoa, and they really don't, because you know that situation.
Well, hey man, being a recovering alcoholic, I needed help. That is a brain issue, and you don't think it until you stop it, right?
9/28/98, bro.
Yeah, bro. And you're like, oh wow, I was legit addicted to a thing. Like, I don't think most alcoholics I know don't realize they're bad alcoholics till they've quit drinking. You know what I mean?
Or are dead.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. But yeah. So yeah, it's dead is no good.
No, it's not.
But yeah, you're like, whoa, man, I had an issue, and I'm glad I'm at a place where the only option is just grabbing a bottle. You know what I mean? The option now is understanding why I grabbed the bottle and what I can do instead. And I think that's what I realized is that certain things, no, absolutely. But certain things you can, if you're lucky enough, if you have the meditation, if you have the training, if you are seeing the right folks that are helping you, and not with everything. And then if you have the panic attacks that literally lock you down and you can't function, I highly recommend getting help. I'm not saying that's a choice like that. I'm saying you can grow to a place where you can have a little bit more understanding and observe what you're going through instead of just going through it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, you can get help. Go get help.
Yeah.
There's medications, there's trainings. I mean, like you said, the breathing. If you feel something coming on, you can really connect. Here's what I'll tell you. That's a time where if you're able to, and you feel that, that's a time to get grounded. That's time to get them shoes and socks off, stand on the earth, and then breathe like you do and focus on that oxygen coming in and going out. And yeah, man, that's the time to do that if you're able to, because I think that would just.
And it can take a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, it might take 5-10 years. In the same way that now I drive by a bar and I'm like, ugh. But I can tell you the first couple of years, especially we have these bars in Norman in Oklahoma called Ask Your Boy Henry Hudson's Pubs. And they are just the Oklahoma. I'm sure Nebraska has a chain of locally owned kind of bars. You know what I mean? That are just, they're very Nebraska. There's maybe 4 or 5 of them that 1 or 2 people own. And they're just those, you go there. That's just where the boys go.
There's 4 of them.
And I could, and I literally tried to go to one about a little less than a year out, and I couldn't. I had to get out of there within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, recently I went and had a meal, didn't like it, didn't prefer it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And now I drive by and I'm not like, oh man, the times I had in there, I could sneak in there and have a shot and a beer and no one would know right now. Now I would be like, man, could you imagine letting yourself down like that, bro? You know what I mean? Could you imagine letting the people that love you down like that? Like, that is the worst thing that I could do. Like, it's a horror film. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's so
yeah. I mean that, and you're right. It could take people 5 years, 10 years. For me, what I did was after a 30-day stint in Colorado rehab, 9/28/98. And my therapist, the therapy guy that was my counselor, was actually the medicine man. And he had a long white beard. He was barefoot. He had a little leather attaché bag. He'd wear these 1970s shirts with chains and stuff. I mean, so yeah. I mean, it's all a choice after that when you do that, but it's not an easy choice.
No,
You know, that
not
demon
at first.
there. So I stayed. I kept going to meetings for 2 years.
Yeah.
And actually, when I got back out of rehab, I had to rollerblade everywhere. Everybody, this is back in the 90s. I lost my license.
The card
I
man on rollerblades.
And here's another thing about my dad. At that time, I worked 60 miles away. Because I worked for the railroad at that time, and that was 60 miles away. Was the drive from my house to the maintenance building where we set up. My dad took me every day for a year. My dad took me to Alliance, and I was 25 years old.
Ooh, that had to suck.
Dude. And for him too.
Yeah.
I mean, he just got to start smoking his cigarettes a couple hours earlier in the day now is all. But, like me, I was a smoker. I couldn't smoke in there. And for my dad, it was just, yeah. That was a weird time of life. Rollerblading to meetings,
Right.
rollerblading to a restaurant. Yeah, bro. Roller skating to the grocery store.
See, and what's hard is you were an organist, keyboardist, pianist. So, like, I'm a guitarist. I could strap the thing on and rollerblade to the gig. You had like stuff.
Well,
you
see,
know.
but at that time, I had nothing to do with music. There was
Okay.
a 7-year period of my life where music was just not involved at all. I guess I did do a little stint with a band for about 6 months, but that was what it was, and then I left, whatever. But yeah, I pretty much for 7 years didn't do anything music, because I was working for the railroad, and that was the job. So I didn't need any other job. So I did. I stopped playing. The only time I would play was to try to get a girl.
That's why we originally play, and then you fall in love with the playing more than any girl, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But that was always the thing, man. If there's a room with a piano and a pretty girl that I liked, that I thought I could, hang out with, I'd just go sit at the piano and play songs. And they'd go, or they'd come, with their drinks and hang out. Like I said, it was just, that part of my life is great. The drinking part wasn't. That was standing up on bars, on pool tables, and pissing on them in front of everybody.
Yeah,
that was me.
May have done that a time or two. Yes, I understand. So
starting fights and just stupid, just an idiot. I was an idiot.
I
needed it.
I got kicked out of a Everclear concert one time for jumping on stage and mooning the crowd. Full on dropping my pants, bending over and showing my ass to the crowd.
You are
while they're jamming, I jumped up on the stage, showed my ass to the crowd.
You're so damn lucky you have a wife. Holy Holy shizzle. That's awesome.
I thought I was hilarious. I was like, I moved the crowd at the Everclear concert. I was like, my God. I got up on stage and did that, and then then tackled, and then they carry you right off. So, but that was at the time when jumping on stage was everybody was like stage diving and crowd surfing. That was a big deal.
It wasn't last year. You got the shit knocked out of you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like it used to be.
Maybe
crowd
the
surfing.
Shot.
Yeah, exactly. crowd surfing is used to be a big deal. Jumping into the crowd. You know what I mean? Most bands, a lot of shows, it was like, do we suck? Why aren't you jumping on the stage and jumping off the stage? Like, what are you doing? We're supposed to be rocking here.
Just watch the last Woodstock.
Yeah.
When Limp Bizkit did play.
Yeah.
Why the hell would any sort of management or promoter go to a band and say, keep it down, don't make the crowd any more rowdy, okay? What are they gonna do? human nature. It's just stupid.
Especially a band like Limp Bizkit. Like
Yeah.
you like if you want them to play louder, that's what you do. Like you literally, if you tell them to play louder, they'll be chill. If you want them to play louder, you tell them to tone it down.
Because they may have been, hey, you know, guys, this crowd's a little bit up. Let's bring it down a little bit. They could have in their head been like that. But I know for a fact that somebody went to them beforehand and told them to
calm it down.
calm it
Like,
down,
okay.
boys. Calm it down, boys. That wrong deal,
I
dude.
know.
And then you see crowd surfing, bro. You see plywood crowd surfing. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the crazy time. You know, that late 90s, early 2000s.
I love that shit, man. As we said before, I love that. I miss
Yeah.
it.
That metal
Needs to
time,
come
that
back.
was intense, you know. I mean, it was great. It was real TV, you know. It was want to see TV, that kind of stuff.
Well, man, I think we were better. Crime was lower, especially weird random crime. And I think it was lower because you got your aggression out. It was healthy. Nowadays, you're taught that any display of anything other than proper behavior is bad, and it's not. And kids get mad. Shoot, I'm the old man and I get mad. I'd still love to go to a mosh pit. It would hurt the next day way worse. But I don't know if I really want to go. But
I'd go. I'd take a few.
yeah, I'd take a couple licks just for old time's sake.
I'd like
But
to have a black guy. It'd be all right.
yeah,
Just don't break my nose.
I
Just
got
do it all right.
ibuprofen. I'll live. So yeah.
Yeah. Don't punch me in the gut, though. I hate
Yeah,
that shit.
no,
I'm not
no,
swinging
man.
down on me like that.
Nah, it's just, arms up. You know what I mean? Arms up. That way you don't like punch somebody. So
Oh,
just
but
watch
you
the
get those
elbows.
crazy swingers in there, though, man.
Yeah.
That just, I mean, go wild, and they're swinging and swirling. It's like, whoa, trip him.
But youth need to get their aggression out. You know what I'm saying? They need to go
Yeah.
mosh pit up. They need to
They need to learn how to socialize in big groups. Because
Man.
here, when was the last here? When was the last time you heard of a kid getting an MIP? MIPs have disappeared.
Correct. I don't
They
even know what that is.
disappeared. And that was the big deal when I was growing up, bro. You know, we'd have a big bunch of people and we'd go out to the lake and the trees. We'd find a little isolated, sneaky spot and we'd start partying and drinking back there. And then here'd come the park rangers and we'd be fucking running from fucking park rangers through trees and shit, you know. And that was what we did. And then we shared stories. I mean, we'd all get in a big van and get in the back of it, like 10, 15 of us, go to somebody's house just because we knew their parents were gone and start a party. You know, I mean, you don't hear that stuff no more. There's no need for MIPs because kids aren't socializing.
Right. Yeah.
I don't encourage it. I'm just saying that was the life back then. And it's so different now.
Garage jams where you played until the cops came. You know what I mean? We're going to set up in this garage and we're just going to jam the neighborhood until the cops come. So, yeah.
I did that all the time. And cops never showed up.
Well, you're in Nebraska, so
I was pretty good. I was pretty good. So, you know, it's hard to call when you're hearing some good piano music live coming out of a garage.
That's fair.
Some funny jokes and whatever. You know, so I was able to get away with that, but it was just me too. It wasn't like a drum kit. Well, actually, in later years it was because I did have a trap machine out there, and I was teaching trap to kids for a while. So
see, piano's easier. I'm thinking like, bass, drums, guitar. You know what I mean? Just raw, cranked, busted amps. You know,
broken paper.
Yeah, that was
off the magnet.
That'll get the cops kick you out. If you're doing jokes and playing awesome piano, that's a little different.
Yeah, but double Marshall stacks and double kick bass kit. You know, and you know, if you've got a flying V guitar. Yeah, you're making some noise.
Bang on that thing, man. I want what is it, a Firebird? Yeah, I want a Firebird. So more than a V. because a flying V just seems so impractical, you know. So
I know it does, but
Like
it's
to play.
so 90s rock metal
yeah, that's true.
and 80s. And it wasn't it Eddie Van Halen that came out with the Flying V.
No, I thought it was Zach Wild. Hold on, let's look that up.
Yeah, let's do.
I thought it was Zach Wild.
And it might be maybe Eddie Van Halen just had a really nice customized one that I'm thinking of,
Let's see here.
or he might have promoted him for a bit.
Huh. 1958. It said it was introduced. Hold on, let me pull up this.
Okay, so that ain't Eddie.
Boom. The Gibson Flying V was designed by Ted McCarty, who was the president of the Gibson Guitar Company at the time. McCarty aimed to create modernistic space-age guitar designs, complete with Fender's solid-body instruments, and address complaints from Gibson franchisers about the company's guitar designs being stodgy and dated. I love the Gibson Les Paul. I think it's a work of art. Anyway, way more than the Strat to me. He worked with local Kalamazoo. Yeah. You know, I mean, I love the Strat is the tool. It's the AK-47, you know, but some about the Les Paul. Plus, man, I'm, you know, a humbucker, man, that fat, thick, quack, that, you know, that pick dig you get. The modern Explorer.
Grit.
Drew up plans for the Flying V, along with the Modern and the Explorer, all of which were introduced. Okay, now I have to see.
Oh, we got to see what the Explorer is.
I know, and the Modern.
Yeah, let's check. And we need a visual on that.
Heck yeah. Let's check that out. Oh. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, look at. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
See, there's I bet that, yeah.
Oh, is that hump?
The Modern, so it basically is a V, but with a.
And then the one right below that, yes, also.
Yeah.
That's another Gibson
yeah.
style. So those are those other two styles right there.
There's the Modern. Yeah, man. That's a cool looking guitar, though. It really is.
And I like the other one. And we both love that Sunburst. It's two guitars over. Guarantee you that.
Yeah, man. But for me, always, I'm going to take that every single day. And then P90s.
The red? You're going to take that red?
That red right there, a little darker red. Actually, that is like one of my favorite colors. That and of course black. I love the Les Paul Black Beauties. So
I like. Yeah. I just love the Sunburst, bro. The dark.
That's my next one. I want an SG so bad. That's my next guitar. So
that's mean.
You can find them used for pretty cheap. So I made a deal with myself. I'm going to stop, man. But I've made a deal with myself to. Because I have some, you know, great guitars, but they need love. They need setup. They need some work. And I'm like, before I buy another guitar, I'm going to take care of the three that I have. Yeah. So I'm like, because it's going to cost about the same amount to get these kind of spruced up. You know, I mean, besides, because I clean them and I've worked on them myself. But I mean, I need like a little fret shave here and there and just, you know, neck tuning right, you know, to neck truss rod tuned right to a machine and all that. So
and that Fender amp you have back behind you, that's a perfect amp.
That's a cheap amp. My main amp is that PV. I have the Bandit 112, which is, if you know, it is like the club amp, the club guitars.
Yeah, but anybody can get away with that Fender amp you have right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, $50 jam. Yeah. I more use it as a decoration because it just looks cool. You know what I'm saying?
It's awesome. Yeah. But that is a very good amp, you know. And you just drop a mic right through the top loop and let it hang right over the speaker and put it into the mains. And it's such a different sound, you know. It's so cool. It's cool.
It is. It has this boxy sound. So when you pushed it out, if you crank it, but then bring your guitar down, it gives you that real vintage, like, yeah, man, it gives you an old, almost crappy like sound. But then if you know how to rock it,
Yeah, almost like a Jimi Hendrix
yeah.
sound.
So for a solid state, it's a great little $50 jammy for sure.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, and I think anybody starting a band, any young kid guitar player getting started, that's where you go right there.
Heck yeah.
So go get that, save up and get that. That's a great amp to start, and it's a great amp to keep, and you could use it forever if you need it.
And buy used. That, man, that is one thing that drives me crazy is, I mean, I get that there's the boutique market and all of that, but if you're just starting out, buy used. It works exactly the same, I promise. You don't need to spend $1,000 on a new guitar. For for $500, you can get you a great guitar, and you can get you a great amp and a great couple of pedals, maybe a wah pedal. You know what I mean? And your overdrive, which is all you really need, and you're jamming and you're ready to go. You can play full gigs like that. So I'm all about
but 80% of those that are in this group that are in a group that's going to start playing guitar are going to quit.
Yeah.
That's also why you want to buy used, so you're not spending a whole bunch of money because you just might not stick with it.
Or you might love it, but it become something that you don't do full time. You know what I mean? It might become
and then
something
you're like,
really
and then like 2 years down the road, you're like, why did I spend so much money on that?
Right. Exactly.
You know, but but on the other hand, if you do go out and you do buy high end quality, then it's going to have a resale constantly.
And I highly recommend learning the market a little bit, because you can buy stuff used that's so cheap. You can buy something for $300 that you can turn around and sell for $600 or $1,000. I have 2 guitars behind me now that I didn't pay over $300 for either one of them, and I can turn around and sell them both right now for, well, one for easy $600 and one for $800 all day. You know what I mean? So, and what's cool is I'm old enough now where now they're getting to be vintage. You know what I mean? My Telly, I didn't buy it vintage. I bought it in the 90s, but now it's a vintage 30-year-old guitar. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, I love that background. That's so great.
So yeah, man, that's you
rad.
know how that works. Yeah. So, you know you're getting old when stuff you bought new is now considered antique or vintage and sought after and rare. You're like, oh, I'm old. So, I was going to ask you, what do you know about Pez? The collector's market for Pez.
I don't know about the collector's market. I just know there is one.
Yeah, it's. We never had that conversation.
There's some that are. Ooh. Oh. What
yeah, that's like the thing I collect, man. Like I haven't shown you, but I actually have a pretty decent Pez collection. So
holy cow, you're gonna have to bust that out sometime.
I just don't talk to people about it because now I finally know collectors. I never knew anyone that would care before. So
well, it's a collection. I had a Star Wars collection that I had to get rid of, you know, because of my situation. I needed some money. I mean, it was an entire room. Wow. And it had shelves coming off the walls, like aisles with stuff. It had the original Millennium Falcon flying in the ceiling.
Wow.
I had a rolling videotape on a little 13-inch color screen, VHS of the first originals in that room. You know, I
remember having a Millennium Falcon, breaking it. And my mom got me another one. I have no idea what happened to it, but I'm so angry because I know it'd be worth crazy money now.
I did keep a Millennium Falcon. I was like, okay, I can't let that go.
Yeah,
I have to keep at least that.
It's special, man. Yeah, what's funny is I have a ton of Pez Star Wars stuff. I have like the Death Star package with like the stuff in there. Yeah. So it's right over there.
Dude, sometimes. How many?
Oh, I probably have a little over 100 all in. Ooh. I have a lot of holiday ones because, okay, so the reason it's special to me is because, you know, as you know, I grew up extremely poor. And so we couldn't afford a lot of stuff. But Pez back in the day was like 99 cents. And so coming from a poor single-parent family, my mom, to make Christmas feel big for me, you know what I mean? She could buy me, you know, one $25 item where she could buy me 20 Pez's. You know what I mean?
Awesome, man.
And so ever since I was very young, it, you know, and we were extremely poor. It kind of became a tradition that every holiday, you know, St. Patrick's
That
Day,
is
Christmas,
so
Valentine's
cool.
Day, uh, you know, mom got me a Pez. And then she knew I was into Star Wars stuff, so we started getting those, and then just random cool Pez's, you know,
Dude,
that
that's so
are
cool.
cool.
Yo,
So
your
yeah,
mom loved you so much. That's so
yeah.
cool.
Too much. No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
No, there's no too much.
Well, you
There's
know,
not.
it's funny, man, because you know we talk about it, and like you were saying about your dad, and I was thinking about how you know I have no point of reference. It's
Yeah,
odd, but I have zero point of reference, and
yeah.
it's one of those. I mean, it is what it is, so it's not better or worse. But like, could it? You know, I think it's very situational. But sometimes not having those bad habits or those bad things instilled in you can be a plus, even though the world and you may feel like growing up without a father is an overall minus. You realize it kind of freed you up to kind of do things your way, you know.
Well,
So
yeah, I just look at without having a father around, you know, it is. I'm very sure it's very difficult, very difficult. But I also don't think you get the same kind of mother that you
yeah.
get if you have a father around. Also,
I would say
and I
what
think
sucked is no brothers or sisters, right? Like I know kids that have a single family home, but they have brothers or sisters, so they feel like they have a little unit. You know what I mean? But just having me and my mom being gone so much, having to work, you know, and that kind of thing.
kind
That's
of
what
just like
sucked.
a lone wolf.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
mean, we're both. That's what we are.
Into our own thing, man. I was just into my
Yeah,
own thing, you know. So and did my own thing, and I'm happy about it. Because if
that's
I'd have done that, I wouldn't have lived in Hawaii. I wouldn't have been a professional comedian. I wouldn't have opened for Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams and Brad Williams and Steve. You know what? I would have never
yeah,
toured. I'd have never had two bands. I would have never opened for War and the Twinkle Brothers band. It was because I did my own thing and kind of blazed my own trail because
yeah.
there was no other trail to blaze. There was no path to follow, you
No,
know. So
you just went. There was a wave that just carried you, and you just followed it.
yeah, well, and music, man, it was. I grew up in the hood, but I could rap back in the day. I was known, you know what I mean. I even had a little rap single back in the day. Uh, so being, you know, there in the hood, the there was a studio, and shout out James Bryant, man, because there was a
No,
preacher,
where is this again? Where is this?
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma
Oklahoma
City.
City. Okay.
There's a preacher named Velvin J. Madison Jr. Shout out to him. And then James Bryant was a dude who had a studio and he made jazz and stuff and he liked what I was doing. And I spent countless hours at his house in his garage studio and learned about music and just hung out. And that's what kept me out of trouble. You know what I mean? Would go to his house and hang out there and just play music and produce and write songs and record. And so I remember the first ASR 10, and we had the Tascam record to cassette, if you
Yep.
remember, but it played quicker. You couldn't play it in a regular cassette, but it was a master. I mean,
Yep.
like, yeah, dude.
I
So,
had pause sticks. I
oh,
had pause
yeah,
sticks,
yeah.
you know, it was actually a 4-track, but you know, it was a 2-track that you ponged.
Yeah, exactly. We even did the plywood sound booth. We literally, like, you know, in the garage, we built a sound booth, you know, with
Little
plywood.
window
Yeah,
and
man.
stuff looking in.
Yeah, yeah.
Having,
Put a little window in it and everything, man. So
that's awesome. That's cool.
it's one of those, I didn't appreciate that till so much later.
Yeah.
But I realized in those years, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. And then, you know, by 17, I was kind of already out doing my own thing. But those informative years, man, if it weren't for, you know, those guys caring about me, who knows where I'd be? Probably in jail or dead. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about, you know, my path. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
but you know, I'm also getting to the age where you start looking at, hey, yo, that path's about to end. You know, it's gonna. You're on the other half of that path. You know, yeah. I mean, honestly, you know, I get 15, 20 more years. That's pretty solid. That's pretty good for male these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, to be quite honest. So that's why another reason I enjoy things so much, and I love looking at everything at so many different angles and trying to get information because, you know, it's I feel like it's what you should be doing if you're in a situation like mine. If you got the time, if you're able to, then you should be figuring things out and learning things about what's around you and what's a part of your life, and really know it. And know yourself too. Take time to learn who you are and really look at that. So then, like you said, you can know those feelings coming on, and then know your brain and know how to do something about it before something you don't want happens about it,
Yeah.
or the wrong words come out, or whatever, you know. So yeah, um, I don't know. I think more people need to search for more knowledge. That's my opinion.
No, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. Um,
On anything, any subject,
Yeah.
anything.
it goes back to what you said on our first show, man, and it's so real, and it's something that if you keep in mind, it's such a valuable thing to keep in mind. And that is that we don't have internal dialogue anymore. And you were like, no one has internal, and I'm like, you're so right, because our internal dialogue has been hijacked, right, by social media and this and that. And so our emotions, which those things appeal to, are taking over are taking over our brain and then renting this space in our head, right? So our emotions and social media have teamed up to take over the sane thought and calm thoughts and better, healthier thoughts in our head. So we don't get those anymore, and we don't get what's best for us. We're told what's best for us and why this bad guy over here is not allowing us to do what's best for us and why we should be mad about it. And we're too busy regurgitating that on our phones to stop, right? And think, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What do I feel? What do I think? Is there more information that I could have that I don't? Why is this? This is clearly negative stuff I'm seeing here. Why do I feel the need to spread this? Who am I helping? And am I changing anyone's opinion? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is anybody going to be scrolling through Facebook and see somebody saying just horrible stuff, Nazi, communist, whatever, blah, 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 racist, whatever. And I mean, all sides do this, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, is somebody going to be scrolling through Facebook who diametrically opposes everything I feel, or Twitter, what have you, and see my angry, hateful post and change? Are they going to see a post that calls them a despicable, horrible person who shouldn't be here and go, I was wrong, my bad, I'm going to change everything I feel about myself and the way the world works in life now because of your hateful, angry post on Facebook?
Yeah.
Stop it. Who are you helping?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
And also, in my opinion, is that everyone checks. Everyone looks to see what's being said. If there's something, I do. I'll admit it. I'll go through socials and some things and see if there's anything said bad.
Right.
I don't let it affect me, but I do want to know, so I go through and see. And I think if anybody's on here and they're trying to grow and get bigger and be honest with themselves, I think everybody looks through that kind of stuff.
Well, and I'm not talking
and it can become overwhelming and can get to be too much.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about personal stuff like you specifically, or an issue with someone you specifically know. I mean, scrolling through and just,
everything. No, I check all the time.
Just random stuff that's like, I hate you, or you disagree with me and you're trash. And it's like, what are you doing that for? Who are you doing that for? You know what I mean? And if everything you're typing right now, I can turn on a certain channel of TV, right or left, and see the exact same thing you're saying on Facebook, you don't need to say it. You're literally repeating talking points on both sides, on all sides. So
that's just it. It's what everything is.
Yeah.
It's what everything is negative. You're lucky if you see a positive. And then if you see an interview or anything, they're trying to pull out negative somewhere inside, that stuff. But that's just human nature at this point. It's just the negative first, always. Always. I mean, there is no such thing as innocent until proven guilty. Up
Oh no,
your ass. Up your ass.
not at all.
There ain't no such thing as that. Even though it's written. It's written. It's the law. It's the law. It's how it should work. It's what but it's not. It is completely guilty until proven innocent these days.
Absolutely.
Everywhere you go. In
Well, and
the world.
it's almost about, okay, if we can not, did you commit a crime and will justice be served? But can we get you found guilty of a crime and then put you in the system as another money-making object in this system that perpetuates my employment? You know what I mean? And the system's existence, right?
Yeah. But it just exists so much everywhere. In every
Right.
kind of system, whether it's a small town shop or Forbes magazine top 50 business.
Right.
You know? I mean, it just is out there. That's why I say you choose to be happy. You choose it. Because you step outside, it ain't happy. It really isn't for anybody. You know?
Life
I'm
is
not
tough.
just yeah. I mean, 50% of the world can't even come up with $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I can't. But
I
right
could
now, at this moment, I could not come up with $5,000. There's no way. No way. So, I mean, I fall into that 50%.
No hate dog, but you like there's like a $5,000 jersey right behind you. But I'm just saying.
I have
It's
stuff
hard to sit there and tell people.
mine.
No, I know. I'm kidding. I'm just having
No,
fun. 'cause
I joke too, bro. But I give a good act.
yeah, I know. Yeah, you're scary when you're mad, bro. I'm not trying to get there.
Oh no,
Please.
dude, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. It's so awesome on video. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I know. But no, hey man, I'd have to borrow. It's not like I just have $5,000
Yeah.
sitting around for any reason whatsoever. And if I did, I just have to pay down some debt, quite honestly, because they're revolving interest, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, man, it's not like I have 5Gs. I'm sitting on 5G. A lot of people are. There'll be people listening right now that'll be surprised I'm not. And
Oh boy, yeah, I know.
listen, shut up. If you're watching and you're surprised I'm not sitting on 5Gs and you want to help me, I have a Cash App. You can help me change that.
I don't want your help, but I just want you to know I'm at a zero balance. So word up. Stuff will happen. I'll be all right. Carter sell. Something will happen.
You know what I mean? Life happens. Life.
Yeah,
life
dude. I mean, I got a roof over my head. I get to eat food. I got a vehicle.
It's huge.
I got stuff. You know that if I had to, and I have had to in the past. You know, I move things when I need to. Just like that Otani at the card show. You know, I mean, but right now I don't really feel the need like I have to move anything. So I'll just wait and chill until I get that. I gotta pay that. I better get some money.
I feel like your business would be similar to like breeding and training horses, right? In that you love them all so much. And you put so much work and effort and investment into each one. But there is sometime, not with all of them, but sometimes it makes a lot of sense and it's a good time to let them go. And they'll be better off. You know what I mean? It actually makes the world better, but it's hard for you because of what you've invested. Yeah. So
yeah, I think this is the year that it's gonna be tough. But this is the year that probably Jalen Hurts jersey needs to go. I think this is gonna be the peak market year for Jalen Hurts. And I have just a supreme card of his. It's autographed, numbered, and PSA graded. It's a 9, but still, it's one of them refractors. It's really hard to get a 10 on. So, yeah, it's an auto and numbered. So that probably needs to go along with the autographed jersey this year, I think.
That's a good package. It's a nice
It
little
is.
package.
It is.
So,
Just get your wallets out.
and do you do like an auction for that, or like how do you?
No, I'll just find somebody to buy it, or I will put it on my eBay store
Oh,
because
cool.
I've got an eBay store that I do card sales on.
Very
Real card sales. There's no card art. You can't find my card art. So that's just with me.
Very cool. Very cool. We want to have you thought about I walked into there's a sports store in my town. I just walked by it all the time. It's actually off of a big grocery store that I go to that has other stores like in it, and it's really cool. They have, but they're basic pricing. It's like $100 per jersey, and they had like a Kobe in there, and then there's like there's I can't think of his name. Anyway, there's more expensive ones, OU players, of course, and stuff.
Yeah.
But do you ever do consignment? Do guys do is that something you do in your world? And I'm just asking because I don't know. I'm just asking
Not me because I got the girls.
Okay.
The girls they really it's the girls are the ones that are running the eBay stuff.
Cool.
To be quite honest, they run everything on a computer and they're so good at it. And they've been doing it for 7 years, and they've just got a system down.
That's so much easier. Yeah,
I'm
consignment
just
is
lucky
tricky.
enough that they included me in their system.
Well, that's awesome. Shout out to the girls. You know what I'm saying?
That's indeed. That's indeed. For sure.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. If you got the folks. Plus, consignment is tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody could come in with greasy hands. They just ate lunch. They grab a $500 jersey. They stain it. All of a sudden, it's a $200 jersey, and you had nothing to do with it. So, yeah, man.
And that's why most of my jerseys I have are in frame.
I see that. Yeah. Well, that's a Josh Allen, man. That's a.
Well, and then I got a Mac Jones. Oof. I got a Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. I got a Bo Jackson. I got the just said his name a little bit ago. Philly quarterback Jalen Hurts. Yes.
Yeah.
So then I got a couple jerseys that aren't framed that are laying around. Like I got a Bobby Witt Jr. jersey I need to get framed.
Nice.
Yeah, and they're all auto. They all have autographs on them. So,
or do you keep up with basketball at all?
Little bit. Now the girls they help me with basketball when it comes to like pricing and knowing cards and players and stuff like that.
Only reason I ask is because it looks like Vegas is making a push for Oklahoma. We got the Thunder. Maybe we're 10, 11 years old now, the OKC Thunder, and it's done great things for the city. And I love the Thunder. They're doing great, and very happy with them. But that was I forgot where it was that they came from. It wasn't Indiana, but it was another team, and basically Oklahoma City bought the charter for them. But Vegas is looking for a team. We are trying to decide, man. I think the Clippers make the most sense, right? The Atlanta Hawks have the lowest attendance NBA wise, but the Clippers make the most sense to me because you're always going to be in the shadow of the Lakers, or you could go to Vegas, sort of like the Raiders. The Raiders were an LA team, and Oakland team, and they didn't really have a home because of the Niners, and there's 100 teams in LA, so or 3, so in that area, so they go to Vegas, they have a home. So I'm wondering, I think the Clippers, I think the Memphis Grizzlies.
It'll be a California team. It should be a California team.
I agree. And I think they should have one. I think it'd be good for the Clippers to go.
Yeah, especially with their dirty history there in LA with previous owners.
Yeah.
Just completely separate from that and go to Vegas.
Because then you'll have the Vegas Raiders, the Vegas Clippers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they just got a baseball team, right? Vegas? Didn't they just get a baseball team?
I think they're just working on it.
Working on it too.
Yeah. And they may have, and I don't know. But yeah. Oh, that's gonna spread out that talent.
Let's move to Vegas, Vern. What do you say?
Dude,
Let's just move to Vegas.
Oh, dude, though, for me, it's not my spot. You know, it moves so fast
Okay,
to where
fair.
it's not fun.
Okay, fair, but
know?
hear me out. We don't move to Vegas proper. We move to like Pahrump. You know what I'm saying? We move like
Oh, I
30
looked
miles
into it.
outside of Vegas, where
Dude,
it's
I
like,
looked into it.
yeah, desert and beautiful. And, you know, you move close to a desert oasis, you know, a natural desert oasis.
Dude, there is a camp spot, one camp spot in this town that you drive to off this highway. It's like 13 miles off the highway. You go down, and it's like a trailer, another trailer, and then 3 motel rooms that look like a little motel, and then a camper spot. And I'm like, that's 30 minutes out of Vegas. I could buy a camper and I could park it there and just live there. But dude, you're going for real. You're going like low grade Hunter S. Thompson style there, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Might not be.
We might make some of the best work of our lives, bro.
Oh,
you know?
dude. That's the thing, is you put me in the middle of some shizzle and
Yeah.
something goes down. You know,
I'm saying a cool little suburb. We're close to all the action. We got people there already. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
everybody coming into town want to hang out with us. It'd be great. So I just know everybody seems to want to meet up in Vegas. It's just like that spot. And I think it's a great spot for that. It's why they built it. But it's like, imagine living there. Like I said, I almost did. I almost lived in Vegas. So
Yep. I mean, like I said, I really think Circa took the couch out because of me in their lobby.
Okay.
Their big S golden double-sided couch.
Mm-hmm.
At PS10, it was gone. After PS6, 7, and 8, at PS10, it was not in the lobby at all. Nowhere.
We got another power slap coming up. Yeah, let's get the couch out of here. We can't. Those boys can't.
You don't want that. No. Here's the thing. Because what I would do is I stayed at the Four Queens, but I'd get up every morning and go and sit on that couch with my case of cards and just sit there and wait to give them to the fighters. You know?
Yeah.
So management, I don't think, thought very highly of that.
What would be the problem? I don't understand. But, you know, because, hey, man, I'll tell you, no, but, hey, man, I mean, slap fights.
It is.
It's
It
Vegas.
is.
But, yeah, I that's silly.
I ain't pretty, and I ain't trying to be pretty. That's
you're
the
beautiful.
problem.
Don't let him lie to you. Don't let him lie, Vern. You're a beautiful man.
No, let's go. Come on, baby.
Let's get it.
Movie shit, you know?
It's the beard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So.
the beard. Well, the beard stands out in the hat, you know.
And the personality.
The
You know what I mean? The whole package, baby. The whole package. So is what it is.
That's a pretty big package to have to handle. Not talking about my thing.
You might need a vaccine afterwards, but we won't get into it.
Yeah. Just one pill every 2 weeks. You'll be all right.
Until the swelling subsides.
Yeah.
If you have nausea or vomiting, you might want to call your doctor. But anyway, that's stuff. You know what? That's a good place to, man. We've gone 2 hours. Wow. So I didn't realize.
You, bro.
I know it. This is too fun. And I felt like the last 2 shows, I was like, we could have gone longer. I didn't know we were going to go a full hour plus longer, but we still could keep going. But this is too fun, man. So
right on. Yeah, dude. I mean, I love talking to you. You just, it makes my week. It really does. It does.
Me too, man. There's some I got to thank everybody listening, but I honestly feel like we've discovered something here, man. What we do is different. It's different than anything else I do. I think it's different than anything else you do, really. Even though we kind of have our own go lives and other stuff, man. But what we're doing, man, I think is cool because I've already had more than one person say it means a lot, and that they've already been a little inspired by what we do, and I think that that's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah. Is to show people that, hey, man,
and see if they catch it.
Yeah, hey, and it's okay if you don't fit in. Neither do we. It's okay if you haven't found your groove or you've been in many grooves. life isn't always about one group forever. For some people, it is. For us,
Yeah.
it's not, and that's okay. That's actually pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So,
It's freedom.
yeah, man.
It's freedom.
My term for our show, when I'm like, they're like, well, what is it or what is it? I tell them I'm just like, it's white trash esoteric. That's the only way. We are white trash esoteric. We take everyday things and find the meanings behind them from a white trash perspective. So, yeah.
And it's a happy one.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
you know, you don't find very many happy white trash. They're rare. We're rare to find in the wild.
Not unless, there's like WWE on and a barbecue going, and then
Well, that's a different story.
guns
That's a whole
shooting.
different story.
Speaking of that, sorry,
I
guys.
was gonna say, and then you do have Sturgis,
Yes.
the rally. Yeah.
I'm scared to go to that. I literally.
Oh, dude, dude, I used to walk down the streets. It's awesome. I did the 70th and the 75th. I did the 70th at the Full Throttle and the 75th at the Knuckle.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so they were great experiences.
I was more of a music guy, but yeah, I know they have awesome music there. But I went to the festivals, you know what I mean? So, because I've seen all the bands, right? Korn, Kid Rock, Metallica, you name it. Limp Bizkit,
and it's different in
Gabriel.
in an entire crowd of 10,000 bikers.
See, exactly. That's why I didn't go. Though, yes, you're right.
It's so different. Oh my word!
It would be in this. If I didn't like coffee and I went to Starbucks, it wouldn't be their fault. It would be my fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the one that doesn't belong there. They're fine. Everybody else is great.
Yeah.
I'm the one that should have thought about my decision. I'm not hating on Sturgis. I feel like but you're lovely
right.
People having a great time. It's just maybe not my cup of coffee.
No, and I get that. I get that. I mean,
motorcycles scare the hell out of me, man. I
don't ride them. I don't ride them. My sister got hurt real bad and had brain surgery because of a motorcycle accident.
I've never met anyone who rides a motorcycle consistently who hasn't had a bad accident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's a knee or a shoulder. Oh, my bad. I didn't.
No, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Anybody passing, that's part of life. You shouldn't be sad about that. That's moving on. That's getting out of here. That's going to a different place. So that's where that's when your energy changes into something else. So that's a pretty cool moment. So I'm not one of those that really, I don't really get down about dying, because I just think it's another step.
I keep getting this overwhelming feeling that when I die, like one of the first things I'm going to do, and so I'm trying to keep that in mind now, is that when I die and I look back on my life, or whatever moment that is, when I'm no longer here and I'm on the other side fully, and I look back, I'm going to regret all of the time I spent worried and stressed out over stupid shit. And I mean it, man. Things I'm angry about. We talked about it a little bit last week, but when you go into the program, the first things you do are make a list of everyone you feel that you've harmed or aggrieved via your addiction. And then you also make a list of everyone you feel you have issues with and problems with, that you feel maybe have hurt or damaged you. And something really cool happens about halfway through the second list. And that is that you realize all of these things and all of these people have one thing in common. You.
Yeah. You're the cog.
Yeah, you're the key to your and you realize, man, I spend a lot of time on this stuff, and I think that's and in addition to that, Chase Hughes, great guy, everybody should follow him, behavior analyst, psychic dude, was just on Rogan, not psychic, but psychoanalyst guy, excuse me. And he talks about the best thing you can do for your life is forgive yourself. The best possible thing you can do right now for your life is forgive yourself for past mistakes. He's like, the difference. He's like, and he's dealt with, he trained boxers, like he hypnotized boxers to be better at boxing, like Floyd Mayweather, like real, you know what I mean? And he deals with big time CEOs of major corporations. And he's like, I can tell you the absolute core difference. And he's like, and I get that people say CEOs are psychopathic. He's like, because it almost needs to reach a crazy level of self-forgiveness, of understanding that if you have a good heart and you mean well, and even if at times in your life you didn't, that you have to forgive yourself and understand and learn and grow from that. And he said the number one thing he sees, and what I'm starting to see, I feel like, is that what holds us back is not necessarily anything else, but it's or one of the main things, I should say that instead, that holds us back is how we feel about ourselves, right? And how we see ourselves, because we see all our flaws. I look at you and I can guarantee you I see something completely different than when you look in the mirror. I bet that if we had to describe when you look in the mirror, if you, without saying the name of the guy, if you described the guy and wrote it down 5 sentences, and I described you, not naming the guy, 5 sentences, they would be completely different from what you see and what I see. Same thing with me, right? Same thing. And that's so important to remember, I feel like, is forgiving yourself. And so much of the time we got to forgive ourselves of what expectations we had on ourselves we didn't meet. And we're still beating ourselves up for not meeting made up expectations that we made up that no one else expected us to meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we still allow ourselves to be held back by that. So I'm sorry, go ahead. Go.
No, I was just gonna say, I relate to that a lot, to be honest. And I don't know. I feel like, even though you might set a goal and not reach it, sometimes you still go further than you ever really should have.
Yes.
Sometimes you actually go a lot further than you ever even realized. You might not get that goal that you wanted, but you take a look back and holy shizzle.
Yeah.
And
Not to be
sometimes you do a
country,
lot.
that Garth Brooks had a song called Unanswered Prayers. And I still think about that song. I thank God for unanswered prayers.
Yep.
Because there are things I thought I had lost or I had failed at, that if it wasn't for those situations, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I wouldn't have some of the wonderful things I have now in my life if I hadn't utterly failed at the other ones.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing, is you always here. I'm a firm believer in like rise from the ashes.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in that, and that honestly, 7 different times in my life I've had to reinvent myself. That's a part of life for some. Some do it slower, some do it faster. But for real, you got to rise from the ashes. You got to figure something out, and it doesn't always have to be, going to the want ads or going to the classifieds and looking. Sometimes you can think outside the box a little bit, maybe come up with something that's gonna fulfill you more and make you happier to do it. It's not all brick and mortar, man. It's not all brick and mortar. Step outside, look around, do something, find something that makes you happy.
Find something that makes you happy, absolutely, and don't beat yourself up so much.
No.
The one thing also we learned in recovery, man, is that everybody's white knuckling it through life. Nobody's thinking about us the way we think they are. Now, sometimes they are, especially people like me and you, because we're public figures, so it's a little different. I had to learn that lesson. It is a little different, but at the same time, just live your life like nobody cares. Nobody cares about your failure. Live your life like no one cares about your failures, to the point of it's odd if you would bring them up or allow them to have any effect on you today. You know what I mean? Because nobody, live your life like, nobody cares. Everybody's going to fail. People are going to fail today. People are going to fail to hit their signal when they turn. You know what I mean? People are going to fail to be nice to the register person at the gas station because they're in a hurry and they're having a bad mood, and it's not that guy's fault.
When I'm behind that guy or that woman in that line, I always apologize to the cash register what she just had to endure.
Yeah.
Because it's not proper human behavior.
I always try to crack that joke.
I do. I apologize for the asshole.
Yeah. I do that a lot. I try to make a joke of it now. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
that guy's having a good day. They are not paying you enough. Thank you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I try to do something like that.
Yep,
So,
yep.
you know.
But
Just
they
a-
did put up with a lot. I mean, there are a lot of people that are just, come on, be better, do better.
Bro, I had an impending fear. Oh, we hadn't even. Do you have to? How much time do you have left, man?
I can go till Saturday.
Okay. Okay, cool. So the next 15, 20 minutes is good. All right, rock
Yeah.
on.
Can I grab
Man,
my soda though, real quick?
Absolutely, sure. Absolutely.
Let me
brother.
grab my soda.
Man, you grab that soda. Shout out to Vern. Let's see here. What are we pulling up? Let's look at some guitars while we wait there. That we're looking at right there is called a Gibson SG. So basically, Gibson and Fender are the two big guitar makers in the world. And this was the Gibson's answer to the Fender Stratocaster. So basically, you had the same weight and a very similar body style to a Stratocaster versus the Les Paul, which is that red one right there that we're looking at. And my favorite guitar, it's like that black one right there, and then that other black one on top there. But they made an SG, so it would give you more of the Fender feel, but with those bigger pickups in it, give you more of that fat sound. And
Are those
and he's back.
humbuckers?
Yeah, those are humbuckers in that one. Yeah, for sure, brother. And then humbuckers in that one. See, humbuckers, and then let's see. I saw one with P90s in it, and then the
See, I
original.
love that turquoise.
Yeah,
Because I remember I had that 65 Fender Strat Daphne Blue.
yeah.
You can actually look that guitar up in that color. And I think there was like 699 made. in that
Don't tell
color.
me that. I'll go get it. I'll go find where that guy lives and get it.
It's I don't even know. Because I gave it back to the guy who gave it to me because he was needing some money. And I'm like, dude, then sell this. If you need money, sell this. I go, you can probably get 50, and this was at the time where you could get $15,000 to $20,000 for that guitar.
Wait, you still, man?
In China.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, the market's gone crazy, dude. So, yeah, the market's gone crazy lately.
We're talking 90s, though. We're talking late 90s.
Wow.
During Bill Clinton's time. For real. I mean, markets were not bad.
No, not at all.
Life was not bad.
That COVID.
And that's pretty much where I think that the real sort of negativeness on the news started was during the Clinton presidency because of the cigar and stuff. I think that really is where all that sort of real dirty dirt political shit started. I know it's always been dirty, but in the media, it got real bad right then and since.
Well, yeah, and that's when you think about it, that it was societal climate at the time too, because that's when Jerry Springer came out. Remember, there was no trash TV like that. People weren't fighting each other on TV. Remember, there weren't body cams and cell phone cams, so there weren't full shows of just people acting a fool in the streets. Like, you had to tune into Jerry Springer to watch people be crazy. Now you can go on the internet and there are, you know what I mean? There are a million hours of people being crazy and fighting. But it was Jerry.
TV was so awesome, man.
Huh?
TV was so awesome.
That's what
I loved TV.
This is why me and you would be good TV buddies. One, because we both like, pizza. But two, because you can ask my wife, like, because I don't like modern TV, but like you just put something on, like we're hanging out, we just want to watch something and chill, half the time we talk through it. I am addicted to Storage Wars reruns because they have them. They have a whole channel. There's on Freevee, which is a free app, but they have, because you're like, oh, my streaming stuff, and you're like, there's only so many episodes, blah blah blah, and there's just, of all my things, I try not to get caught up in too much TV, but Freevee is free, and it's like they just show random stuff, and so I'm addicted to game shows, like old Prices, Bob Barker Prices Right, to look at the hairstyles, and they loved brass, bro. The brass, everything was brass back then, and then Storage Wars. Like last night, a dude got vintage gaming stuff, and he had old Nintendo and Coleco, $40,000 he pulled out, and I mean games on games on games. Dude, like, he's like, this game is so hard to find. Yeah, I was like, see, I bet you would love Storage Wars.
I'm gonna send you some pictures. You know, I got the original Atari hooked up downstairs to play.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I can play my Atari right now downstairs. I also have hooked up to it a Wii. I have
Wow.
a Super Nintendo and a classic NES, along with the miniatures of them that play.
Whoa. Bro,
Yeah, dude, I went
that's
off.
like 10
I
grand easy right there, dude.
I
Easy.
loved it. But
Wow,
see,
yeah.
that was my dad, dude. My dad, he collected tools and pews. That's what my dad did. Just collect tools and pews. And them tools is heavy. I mean, we're talking. He's got the trucker toolbox set up. You know, the big red snap-on one.
Yeah, yeah, with the wheels, you got to roll it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Wheels
probably a
are like
ton.
that big around.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's heavy, and I mean, and then he has the old like he used to make his own rounds. So he has all that equipment and stuff out there too. You know,
Wow.
it's just it's kind of insane, but my dad, he was that way. He would collect.
Yeah.
And he would have his like specific collections, and that's what he'd do, and then he rubbed off on me.
I was gonna say, I wonder where you got it from.
Yeah.
No, and hey, man, Wise, I get it, and I think maybe that's why you have an eye for it, because you know a lot of people collect and man, I forayed into cards for like, I don't know, I was in my early 20s and maybe 6-8 months, and I just lost my ass. I lost my ass. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really have any friends into it, and I just lost my ass. I lost like, you know, at the time I was in my early 20s, and I remember losing like $600 all in. Like going to, I thought I had money and I didn't, and I had spent money on cards I thought I could sell for more, and I didn't know what I was doing, and maybe I could have, and I bought, you know, I just didn't know what I was doing, man. You know what I mean? So,
See, and my thing is I never I always got things because I liked them.
right, yeah,
I never got anything with intention to flip ever. So I lost my ass, period, because I was just paying, buying, and not selling, and then just doing my card art and selling whatever card art I could here and there. But I just, until this last card show that I went to in Denver, kind of opened my eyes a little bit, you know, because I do have cards. Because like I sold that to me that Otani was my nicest card.
oh wow,
To me it was, I think. But then I look, and then I have this Jalen Hurts, a rookie card auto that's numbered. Then I have, I mean, I gotta sell stuff, you know.
yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
because
yeah.
it has. I gotta look through my stuff and get the things that have increased, because what I saw from that Otani, you know, I mean, making $800 profit on a card,
Yeah, yeah.
that's crazy. It's crazy to say no to. You know, because I know there have been people that say, "Oh no, I'd have held it," because in 5 years, you know, it could be worth $2,000, and I'm like, well, you know, it's not 5 years, it's right now, and it's over 200 from comps, so I'm taking it. You
In
know,
5 years, it could be in Mad Max times. Okay, so calm down.
yeah, yeah. I mean, just let me be happy about getting $1,200 for a card. You know,
I don't care, man. My rent is due next month. Okay.
yeah,
So whatever your card thing is, bro, I don't know about 5 years, but no,
yeah.
I'm with you, man.
You know, and for me, it was like, especially when I want to buy a $385 card that I saw.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, especially because I want to put back in to get another rookie autograph. You know, I mean, it's this cycle,
Well, and
and you
certain
make
ones,
some and you bring some home, but you still at the time put back in and buy some stuff.
and then certain ones you're probably more attached to, right? I'm
Right.
assuming like my guitars, there's a couple guitars I could sell, no problem. You know what I mean? And be like, okay, yeah, cool. And there's a couple guitars I will never sell. You know, I can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I got in a situation. I mean, like I said, I don't make money. So I had to sell my 75 Camaro.
Yeah. I hope you got a good deal.
That
I
hurt
hope
my
you got.
heart.
Yeah, I bet.
But I knew the guy, and the reason they were getting it was for their son for high school to kind of, look different and cool and stand out. And I was like, right on. It's going to a good place. So
That's cool. That's something.
yeah, but it was sad. That was sad.
I bet. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it also was fun when I had it. And right now, it would probably kill me to try to drive it with the clutch, the 3-speed. You got to get down low to get in it. I mean, it right now it would be a pain in my ass.
Well, it's I I looked into, believe it or not, they have in Scotland and Ireland, they have cheap castles, right? Because
yeah.
and they're not huge castles. It would be like a big house, right? But it's a castle. You know what I mean?
There's
as far
no
as it's
plumbing,
a legit.
there's no electricity. It's just stone hallways and rooms and little fireplaces.
And
Am I right?
and they have them for relatively cheap. And we were looking at one, and I was like, but you got to remember, just like your 75, man, it's not so much buying it; it's the cost of maintaining it that it will get you. Yeah, it's going to be. I was like, you understand, to maintain a castle, just the yard bill alone would probably be 10 grand a year just to keep the yard. And then you've got what it costs to heat it and cool it, and then the electricity costs to run power to a castle. And I was like, you understand, it's not buying the castle. That's why they're so cheap, because
you
not
can't
getting
get
it. Yeah. So having a 75, look, it's a great ride, but every 200 or 300 miles you put on it, you're gonna have to put a couple $100 into it. When you break it all down. So you might go $2 grand without having to do anything, but just to keep it in the shape you need to keep it in, something that old, you gotta drop dollars quick when anything starts to act up.
Yes.
And those old ass 75 parts that they don't make anymore, you got to hunt down parts. So yeah, man.
Because because the clutch actually went out on me. It went out. I went down to a store, to Family Dollar, and it was acting weird, but I was able to get it back home. But once I get home, that clutch was completely stripped. The inside of a clutch is supposed to interlock, and then they can change. But this one was just completely flat. Completely flat.
There's metal on,
It had to be towed to the garage to get a new clutch. And so, I mean, it is kind of difficult, because then you have to find the right mechanic that can work on it anymore.
Yep.
Because, you're not going to find somebody that just got out of tech school 3 months ago and is hired at a garage that is trained on 1975 Camaros. You can't just put a chip in.
Yeah, I was going to say, nowadays they just literally hook your car up to a computer.
Yeah. See, that was the thing about that car, though, because there was nothing computerized on it.
That's cool.
So I would have always been able to have a way to get around without anybody ever knowing. Toss the phone out the window, hop in the Camaro. Ain't nobody know where you're at.
Man, I'm not going to get too tinfoil hat on you, but I believe we're probably already all chipped anyway, man. I personally, I'm not going to go, look, here's the thing. We know for a fact.
Do you think it was in the vax? Do you think the micro or the nanos?
Water. I think it's in our water. It's in
I don't
city
drink
water
it.
supply. So,
well, I guess I drink soda, so they're going to use the same water for soda.
And not only that, man, if you bathe in the water, it still hits your skin. You still get some of it in you. Your body absorbs water if you shower, if you bathe at all. And you cook without water. You know what I mean? You wash your hands without water. Yeah. So they don't need they don't need you to orally ingest it. You know what I mean? Think about how if you put water on your skin.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And we know, our body absorbs water in the same way that, like, certain pills you put under your tongue and it dissolves. Water dissolves in your mouth if you don't swallow it. And I think, we know that they have, nanobites and little things that are the size of atoms that you
Oh,
cannot see, that are
oh.
undetectable to the human eye. All 6 human
When we're getting
senses.
into the quantum realm, I mean, they're talking about quarks, and quarks are running through us. We've said that before. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that they can catch that would fit inside of a syringe.
It goes, man, look, I have a friend who's really deep into
Technology.
this stuff. Shout out Shane Caspi. He wrote us a couple of great books, but the way they feel about it is, okay, so we know they're manipulating the clouds. We see all the streaks in the sky, right?
Oh,
And so
yeah.
he believes that the cloud stuff, the same stuff they're putting in the clouds, has to do with aluminum and metals that are in our water, and we
Yeah.
drink that, and then they put the things in the sky, and they can control behaviors and things like that. I'm not saying any of that's true. I'm just saying if we're gonna go there,
No, you can because I think it does influence.
Yeah.
But it influences the weak.
yeah, absolutely.
If you know who you are, you know all these things, and you look at the universe, and you know the earth, and you know this and that. Doesn't matter what they dump on you.
Yeah.
But if you're just Miss Mary Sheep walking down looking for her white fence and her nice pink house and her groceries and, going on their softball tournament during the weekend. I played that game. You're not seeing some of the reality that's out there.
Yeah, and even worse, if you can't wait to jump onto social media to talk about how mad you are about who the senators are or governor or president is, because you've just spent the last 3 hours having somebody scream at you how mad you should be and how you should be getting on your social media. And as you've said, that internal dialogue is that screen, that filter is taken from you via emotion. Then you're behaving and you don't see what's going on because you're too busy doing what you're told and fighting with people, and you invite that into your life, man.
That emotion oozes through. It just oozes through that.
Yeah.
That's what it does. It doesn't remove it. That's still there. It's just like a barrier that's, diamond plated fence that's open, graded. So it's just oozing through there.
Yeah.
That negative. So but you got them 2 slides, I'm always capable of blocking that, making it a solid wall instead of the little picketed block off those connections.
Which just, man, when you become awoken, when you just realize, oh man, this is like, nobody wins at this game. I can play too, but this is, you know what I mean? This is a monkey knife fight, and we're the monkeys. You know what I'm saying? And people, and they're enjoying, people are profiting and benefiting from us behaving like 2 monkeys trying to stab each other. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. Yeah,
we're
man.
in the Petri.
Exactly.
We're under the scope.
And they want us to fight each other. That benefits them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they have to have war. They have to have war.
Yeah.
Period. If it's not between us and somebody, it's us causing it between somebody and somebody else. But there always has to be war. That's what keeps that's what keeps the dream of a one world government alive. Is war.
Yeah. What? And it's what you say, it has to be a war, and I feel like because there has to be sides. Because if you're not on a side, the old thing they put in your brain. What are you standing for then? If you don't stand for nothing, you fall for anything. It's like, but what if what I stand for this is all BS and not good for any of us? What if that's what I stand for and no one is representing that? That's it,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, there can never be peace. It just isn't in the cards for our breed. Our breed has been for thousands and thousands of years, bred to be a carnivore, a hunter, a predator.
And
We are
humans are
the
the sorry,
top
guys.
predator.
Uber, we are the Uber predator. If you think of, there is not besides whales, and even they don't. I mean,
No.
besides whales, there's
We
really
can
not
still
an
fuck up
animal.
whales.
Yeah, you can eat whale. We kill whales all the
Yeah.
time. Actually,
Yeah.
we're Uber. There's not a living.
Mm.
There's not another living thing on this planet that we have not killed and eaten.
Nope.
It's true.
No, only the things we haven't found. You know, and then we find those, then we'll kill those too.
That's the theory of higher life, man. One of the theories is that they came and they were here and they realized we are a breed of creature that if we can't kill it or have sex with it, we're not interested in it. And so,
Let's eat it.
and so they were like, we're out. Like we don't, you guys are way behind,
Yeah.
come back to us in a few 100,000 years because you're still in that kill it or breed with
Yes.
it phase.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah. Killer hump, killer hump, killer hump. You know?
and I makes sense, man. If I was I'd be like, yeah, no. Working with these, it's just like working with somebody that it's only going to be problems. You're like, they're just not there yet. I'm going to let them do their thing, man, and maybe they'll come along later. But right now, there's no good here for us.
No. There's nothing to happen. So let's just stay away. You know?
Exactly.
No friendship. There's not going to be any understanding. There's not going to be any communication because we're just going to stand and look at each other cross-eyed because we don't understand why the other one's in the place where they are.
Yeah.
Thinking with the thoughts that they do. You know, that's just how it is.
Or sometimes you feel like you do understand because you've been there.
And they don't.
And the good thing is you've been there. You're like, well, I didn't listen when I was at that place either. So I have more compassion for this dude or person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I understand where they're at. I was there.
Put their shoes on. You can put their shoes on.
Exactly.
You know, because nobody knows the burdens of another man. Nobody knows what another man carries or woman. Man or woman.
Man or woman. Exactly.
Yeah. Man or woman.
Or purple alien. Even.
Yeah.
Purple aliens.
Oh, you're talking about Michael Hall or go on, stop it.
Yeah, but no, everybody has their own challenges. And it's like I say, man, like it's for lack of a better way to say it, because it's not that times are easy. It's that survival is easy. Times are harder because survival is so easy.
Yeah.
You know, if we were neighbors and we woke up, and I'm very thankful for the internet because we're doing what we do. Yeah. But if it was one of those, we woke up and, I had to tend to the field so your cows had grass to graze on, and you had to tend to your cows so my family had meat to eat, and we all had to work on that creek that was leaked, that a little dam so it didn't leak into this other place, and we all had 8 hours of hard shovel work to do before we started our farm work. Wouldn't be a lot of fighting over this stuff. We would just know we needed each other and that we had to work together. It didn't matter your color, your age, your creed. It was that if we didn't, feed these animals and tend to this grass and, help each other out, neither one of us would live. And
it's just different because they like the internet, right? Like you don't have to care about anybody on the outside. You can have that connection on the internet now and completely disconnect from that outside. So when you're outside, you're shut off.
Yeah.
And then when you come back inside, you turn back on. That's kind of the way the world is right now. Because when they're outside of their home, what are they doing? What they're told, they're working. Whatever their job is, they leave their home, that's what they're doing. Or they're going to a function for their family or church. For flipping ever.
Mm-hmm.
Forever. And then that's what they know. I mean, and they learn other things along the way, of course. But that is the basic things that they know.
Right.
and then they get on one subject and they start preaching, because they don't like this or they don't like that. Educate yourself, and then you'd realize that you might not be saying the right thing when you say you don't like this or you don't like that.
Or
That's
or you
that's
do.
that,
Yeah.
that's that internal dialogue.
Exactly. That not enough people have. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
It's
right.
being bred out.
So much easier to control you when you don't think for yourself, right?
Yep. And they got it figured out. That's where all the technology came from. They couldn't just keep it at simple synthesizers and guitars.
Right.
And then even in basic just Nintendo. Just keep it 16-bit. What the heck? It was great. I mean, for real.
Yeah.
The arcades. How awesome were the arcades for kids?
They were
when
the best.
Dude, W.C. Frank's here had the best hot dogs. Big old foot-long hot dog. You get that, and then you go up and you play Centipede or you play Asteroid or Pac-Man, and the real machine. And, everybody's standing around. And, I mean, come on.
I loved
That's
Bad
fun.
Dudes and Galaga. I was a Galaga man. I love that in Bad
Oh,
Dudes.
choo,
Bad
choo,
Dudes.
choo.
Yeah. That's probably where
Oh,
I got it
man.
from.
That's great.
All right, man. Well, we've got almost 3 hours now. So tell the
Look at
people
that.
what you got coming up this week. Are you doing any card shows or anything
I'm
live
not,
stream?
man. I'm not. I'm doing exactly what I said I was gonna do. Take a few weeks off.
Okay.
This to me is what I enjoy. So
Heck yeah.
this isn't like a thing to take off from. This is a thing to be a part of.
For sure.
But everything else, I'm just setting them. I'm just gonna practice what I preach. Right? Step away,
Mm-hmm.
think, ponder, figure, then get dirty again.
Do you ever do the mind exercise where you'll lay there and you'll kind of in your mind live out your life taking this path that's before you, kind of live that out in your mind and see kind of where that would take you and what
I try
feelings you
to.
have.
That's where my goals form from.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
where my
man.
goals form from. Is thinking, okay, if I do this and I do this, and it's going to take me to this place, then I'm going to be able to have this opportunity. And then if I get this opportunity and I can really show them, then, that'll be a good thing. Yeah, that's where my goals come from.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I do that on both ways, and it helps me. It does, because sometimes I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then I stop, and I'm like, and then we do this, and then we do this, and then oh wait, and this person, and you know that you're trying to overlook something about this person where it's going to be difficult to work with them in the future, and you're going to be mad at yourself out of experience because you tried to overlook this same thing in someone else, and it became an issue, or you in yourself, or you're going to let people down because you really want to do this other thing, or you don't have time to do this other thing, or whatever the case, but you play it out. And I feel like that's one of the most, what you're talking about doing right now. And that's one of the most effective ways to kind of understand and have confidence in your path, because you've thought through it and you're kind of prepared for what may happen. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's time to step back, look at things. And then when I come back, it's going to be another big thing.
Heck yeah.
I mean, this is just another time where for me, I trying to rediscover myself and get bigger and grow, right? So I'm building again.
Me too.
Starting over. Yeah. It's a constant cycle, and And I am so grateful to be able to be here and talk to everybody and talk to you and hang out and just bullshit. I mean, it makes me feel good, you know.
Yeah.
So even though technology, this, that, the other, this is a healthy thing for me, to be able to talk to you and your people and just share some things,
Hey, bro, this is like cheaper than therapy, and they don't kick us out after an hour.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And the thing is we get to talk about whatever we want,
Yeah.
And of course, we're smart enough and intelligent enough to know the boundaries and lines of where to take things. We also see holes, and we might go down those holes.
Absolutely.
You know.
Well, and I think it depends on what your goal is. Like, if I got off into a specific, like I've mentioned arguing about politics a couple times today.
Mhm.
But if I started naming names of politicians and why and how people feel, now we have a different show. I already do that show, and I'm trying to not do that show. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't.
The problem is that my dad was very, very, very political.
Mm.
Very political. And I couldn't sit in the other room on the other chair with him. As he's sitting in his chair, I could not sit in there and have a talk with him and have it not be about politics.
Mm.
He would just, I mean, that was his thing. Except he was a Fox News guy. I'll say that. But he was loyal. And I mean,
Hey, I have good friends that work for Fox News. Literally, good friends.
Yeah, he has
that work for Fox News.
I now have every what was his name? Bill O'Reilly. I have every Bill O'Reilly book.
I read one of
Everyone.
his books. It was good stuff. I didn't think it was a bad book at all. I was
My
like,
dad
this is
loved
not-
him.
so.
Loved him. So bought every book. Got every book for Christmas.
I like
Bill
Alex
O'Reilly.
Jones. So
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
still listen to Alex.
He goes places, man. That dude goes places now.
He's a little. Hey, look, man, you got to love him for what he. It's to me, Alex Jones is like metal. It's like
You
death
take
metal.
the
It's
good,
like, yeah,
and you just whatever else is just whatever else. But there is some good.
Mhm.
There is some good in there. There's something there's something you can gain knowledge from, get some wisdom from.
Well, and
so you have to be smart enough to separate.
And I'm of the opinion that whether the man is wrong or right, he should be allowed to say what he says and does what he does because, and it's so odd that so many people can say such crazy, hateful, inane, untrue things and get away with it day after day after day after day. But for some reason, the people he's talking about and the topics he's talking about, well, then you get attacked. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm interested in those topics. Why don't you want him talking about that stuff? And it doesn't mean he's right. Doesn't mean that he's like my Jesus or anybody. It's just that I enjoyed listening to his show. Sometimes it's clearly crazy and out there, and sometimes it's interesting. So, but yeah, I understand. I used to be that way.
It doesn't give you a certain stereotype to fit into.
You're right. Exactly.
You're just looking at something.
Well, hey, man, and I'll tell you, because of what I do, and I'm trying to do much less now. In fact, it's a big change in my life because, for the last year, man, politics was probably about 75-80% of all my conversations.
Yeah, dude, you seem real flipping serious, bro. Like you lighten up a little bit. I mean, I've watched some of those shows.
Oh yeah, those, yeah. They get,
dang, dude, you whoa. Take a walk.
Stuff.
Take a walk. Breathe, please.
Bro, and hey, man, not for nothing, but, we've gotten threats. We got death threats and all of that stuff just because we were in the wrong to some people. And that's, that's the kind of thing people don't understand about me is that if you want me to keep doing something, threaten me or tell me to quit doing it or you're going to hurt me or I'm not allowed to do it. And then I'm going to prove you wrong every time.
I love
every
threats.
So you threaten me and tell me I better not do this or that or you're going to hurt me. We'll watch. Well, now I'm going to do triple that. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah,
gonna
oh, yeah.
I'm gonna make you
Yeah.
enjoy it. So, but yeah,
I
yeah, you're
truly
right.
enjoy those. Those are fun. They really are.
You're right, man. The political show is very heavy. It can get
It is.
very heavy and very negative.
Yeah.
So like I said, man, it's time to learn. And I like I was saying, I watch all the news. You know what I mean? I literally I'm reading CNN, and then I'm reading Fox, and then I'm reading MSNBC, and then there are a couple of really legit podcasters who they're not covering any of this stuff. I read Wall Street Journal, and then I read the New York Times. Like literally I'm checking all this stuff on a regular basis, and it's not great. Got to back off it. But
Yes.
disappointed in all of them. You know what I mean? You're on one news channel and it's got to be this way. And if anybody says it may not be this way, or you guys may be a little bombastic, they all attack that person. Then you go to the other channel, right? Yep. And it's, hey, we've got an issue or a question here. Then it's interrupted and you're a jerk. And anyway, moving on about how great our guy is. And it's like, well, I'm disappointed in both of you because neither one of you are allowing any free thought. You're saying this is what it is. And what I hate the most, this is what you got to be careful for. This is how you know somebody is trying to manipulate you. Everybody watching. It's very important. You know somebody is trying to manipulate you when they start the premise of their conversation by telling you what their opposition thinks, telling you how their opposition feels, or giving you the reason or motivation for the opposition. Well, they think like this, and that's the whole problem. And the reason we are A, B, and C is because they are like this. You haven't asked them. You're telling me what other people are. You're not allowing me to ask other people what they are. And if you're telling me they're bad and evil, it's because you don't want me talking to them. If you have a vested financial and personal fame interest in keeping eyes on you, right?
Or somebody quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but you know what I mean? It's all these conversations start out with the assumption. You know what I mean? They all start out with they think this way and we're right because they're bad because this is what they think. And I read some like, this is not what we're thinking at all. What you're saying we think or how we feel is not correct at all.
No.
You're creating a fake person to fight against to justify your behavior. Because if I am Hitler, then whatever you do to me is okay. But if I stop you and go, but wait, I'm not Hitler, well, then you're all mad and ready to treat somebody like Hitler, and that energy and emotions got to go somewhere.
They are just deflecting whatever they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Upon the other side.
Yeah.
Because that's all they know. That's all they know. Because the majority of them are narcissists. So that is all they know. So they deflect what they do onto the other person. And they're so influential that they're able to do that and get people to jump on board also. I mean, you see that all the time from Washington, D.C., all the way down to the swamps of Louisiana, man.
Cults. Your basic cults. You know what I mean? The Halebach comic. You can get people to cut off their balls and drink poison Kool-Aid. That's influence.
Mm-hmm.
How you can convince another man to castrate himself. Wow. Whatever sales skill you got. Man, I want you selling insurance for my company. You know?
I mean, all this stuff that's going on in the world right now. I mean, think even Diddy. Yeah. I mean, that I don't care. Anybody can say whatever. Don't talk. Come on, man. Another man that is able to convince all these people to have some sort of relationship with him in that way.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on, man? What's this world coming to? This is Sodom and Gomorrah, bro. That's pretty much what this place is. And if you can find a little light somewhere and find some shine somewhere amongst this, then you're lucky. And there's a lot of lucky people out there that don't realize they're lucky amidst a hell of a mess for humankind. And they don't even get it.
It's and something that I just thought of is, what do we call people who make a living being famous, internet famous? What is their name? Influencer.
Yeah.
Influencer. This is a social media influencer. This is a big time influencer. Ooh, this is a, million follower influencer.
No, I'm like motherfucking card man. That's who I am.
Exactly. But I mean, that's the title. And you think about that. So, okay, what are they influencing? What you know what I mean?
It should be something positive. Or at least
a
positive message. If they're going to influence, it needs to be some sort of positive learning message and not a bunch of jumping around dancing bullshit.
Yeah, so let's check this out. Influence noun. Let's see here. Is it up? Let me check. Did I pop it up? Yeah. Influence noun. Power affecting a person, thing, or course of events, especially one that operates without any direct or apparent effort. The pervasive influence that TV has on modern life, young people falling under the influence. Number 2, power to sway or affect based on prestige, wealth, ability, or position. A person who exerts power. Anyway, so an influencer, yeah, exactly. An influencer is someone whose job it is to basically manipulate you or change your life's normal course of action to do something that they want you to do.
No.
Influencer.
That's not my message at all.
No, me neither. What I'm saying is this whole system is set up to take your internal dialogue. The whole system is to take your individuality away. The whole system is set up to get you to not think for yourself, because these aren't celebs that are separate from you and you live a life instead. No, these are influencers. They're influencing you with their brands and their talking points and what they're told to say and how they're told to push. And the fact that, I personally know some influencers who got paid in this whole soda thing. They got paid money to promote soda, right? Because RFK was talking about
that bubbly one.
No. RFK is talking about taking soda off of the EBT cards, right? So RFK is talking.
No fucking way.
Wait.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's a thing.
Directly affects me.
I'm not. Look, hey, bro. I'm just saying. I'm not making an opinion statement. I'm just telling you.
Take my Ruby Road squared away.
I know. Look, man. Just see. That's why it's hard to talk about this stuff. But because everybody's like, I'm like, here's the thing. It's like, whoa, it affects me. I'm like, I know it affects you, dog. Anyway, but this happens a lot with these topics, right? But anyway, so and I'm not even like getting in and arguing about the topic. I'm just saying it is a topic, right? But yeah, so RFK is talking about pulling all sodas from EBT cards, right? Just whether you like it or hate it, whatever, it's a thing that the federal government is talking about doing. The head of Health and Human Services is talking about no longer allowing you to buy Coca-Cola with your EBT card. Period. The end. No opinion made. That's something that you can easily Google right now and see they're talking about it, right?
That's a fact.
So anyway, so
you
then
don't want 100% healthy, Vern.
Yeah,
you don't want that.
I want as healthy as possible, Vern. But regardless of that, so then come to find out, some people I know on Twitter were getting paid by Coca-Cola, or basically it's a PR firm that Coca-Cola pays, right? And these people have these agents that the PR firm calls. The agent is like, you have this person and this person, and I want them to tweet out about taking soda away is wrong. I want them to tweet out how soda is only 8% of all EBT expenditures, and why are we going after poor single mothers, and their EBT sodas, when there are big evil and big money we're supposed to be going after, And I'm not saying it's a wrong or right statement. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with the statement. I'm not saying any of this. I'm saying these people were paid to not say on Twitter, hey, I am paid to tell you that. They're saying, hey, Why is RFK going after Soda? That sucks, man. And they don't feel that way. We don't know how they feel, but we know they were paid to say that. We also
Send
know.
it my way.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
give him a message.
Exactly. But I'm
Have a
saying that's
Pat on each shoulder.
that's
Let's
the
go.
key. Yeah, that's the influencer thing. You think you're agreeing with someone organically on Twitter that you like, and you like the information they put out, and they've got a well thought out opinion they're laying out to you that you're going to side with and retweet and share and copy and paste, or then put your own sauce on it and type it yourself because yeah, man. And the whole time they don't give a crap. They're just getting a bag to tell you this. Influence, man. They've influenced the next few hours of your life and the next few interactions with people online. Influence, man. So, yeah.
Influence with a different style of wisdom and a different style of knowledge. And with how I think about things, I don't want to tell somebody to go and drink something or not drink something or eat something or not eat something. And I know that's how sponsorships work, but that's not what I've ever been about. I know Ren is popping off real big, which is bad. The singer Ren.
Mm-hmm.
I really like him. I liked him a lot because he wasn't mainstream. When he first came out as public after those other albums he already had. But then when he went public, it's gotten kind of, weird with Ren. But I did. If that's a good song to listen to, though, if somebody ever really wants to kind of look at the inside through a song, there's an artist called Ren, and he does have a song that really sort of connects with that inside battle of the internal dialogue that I talk about.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful for that. I mean, it's intense. It really is. Have you seen it? Do you know who Ren is?
I know who Ren is. Got to
ever
dig
seen
into the
that?
music. Haven't heard.
You
much.
got to see that video when he's. I can't remember the name of the song. But it's him sitting inside of like this factory in a hospital gown on top of a wheelchair with a guitar in front of him like this.
Wow.
Check that song out because it's 100% about internal dialogue and the battle that people that have an internal dialogue actually go through in order to get through life and make the choices they make. Because there is that internal dialogue. When you make a choice, it's telling you it's the wrong choice to make every time.
And maybe that's why we so willingly give it up, because it's hard. It's so much easier to look at my phone to get an opinion and say, this is the opinion that my group agrees with. Let me shine and get my participation badge today by not thinking. You know what I mean? It's so much easier for, influencers to tell me what to drink and what to eat. Now, in anything we sponsor, we will always say, try it for yourself. I will never represent a product and go, this product or nothing. I understand everything is for some folks. Nothing is for everyone except for maybe water. Other than water, nothing is for everyone. So,
and I promise for my friend Mike, I will always play good.
You play very well. That's why you made a living at it. But yeah, no.
That was a great way of putting that, though, man. Come on, that was some good shizzle right there.
Makes me feel good, and I know the musician double entendre, but it makes sense to know, man. It's easy to see that stuff. It's like, holy if I start thinking of myself and my accountability and responsibility and the moves I make and how the ripple effects of my behavior, instead of going, well, this person said it and I'm just agreeing with them and repeating their thing. So there's safety in that. And I'm not really accountable. I'm agreeing with this person, instead of that, it's I, like you just said, have my internal dialogue. I know there's that small voice inside of me that I need to listen to more, even if it's saying things I don't want to hear, like get up, go to the gym. You know what I mean? Get up, work harder.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
so
shit. Where'd you go?
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Oh shit. I was saying, oh shit, to the gym. Fuck that. You can throw that in your own list.
Yeah, no, everybody has their own list. No, everybody has their own list. For me, mine is go to the gym. Everybody
walk
has their,
the
once
mailbox.
again, everybody has their own. Dude, if everybody played guitar, there'd be no keyboardists, drummers, bassists. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own thing. And I'm not hating. For me,
I
it's
love it.
literally making the phone calls I don't want to make, because that's the problem with what I do. I can just make all the calls I want to make and hang out with the people I want to hang out with and talk to the people I want to talk to, but I don't get anything done. In life, there are calls you have to make, and there are business things you have to get done. And it's being disciplined enough to focus on those as well as the things I enjoy doing. But that, and like going to the gym, these are things that I know I need to do that are good for me, even if I don't want to. Don't eat a box of cookies.
See, I
eat
think
a
that's
cookie.
great for you, though. I mean, I would never say, "Oh, like you and your gym."
Yeah, no,
You know, I just say, "Hey, man, I walk to the mailbox, bro."
and hey, and that's a win. And look, man, I go to the gym. I don't lift weights. I swim. And
Yeah.
the most important thing I do in the gym, I do sauna training. I do 30 minutes in the sauna to where I'm real uncomfortable, and sometimes 40, depending on the heat, until I'm so uncomfortable I practically can't see straight. I come out for 7 minutes and I go back in for 10 to 15.
You
Why?
should
Yeah.
really try to meditate during those times.
Yes. And it's one of those, I'm putting myself in an
Do a deep
uncomfortable
meditation.
situation where my body is screaming, get out. My everything in me is screaming, danger, danger, red lights going off, get out. And me going, no.
Yeah, that's a cool point, though.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, meditate to that point, to where that pain
It
just
becomes
a part of you, and you realize it, but it isn't gonna kill you.
right. Exactly. Well,
Except
and
the sauna might.
you're what?
I said, except the sauna might.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you get to walk out. You can walk out. It's a public sauna. It's not like I'm by myself. So if I did pass out, no, I've never passed out.
Okay.
Because you can always walk out. It's not a big
Yeah.
thing. It's 2 steps and you open a door and you're fine.
Just roll out.
Yeah. And it's right off a big cool pool. So if it's too bad, I just, drop right
Roll
in the
into
pool.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
the idea is, if you put yourself through enough uncomfortable situations where your body and your feel-good mind is telling you, stop all of this so you can feel good and be comfortable right now, and you have all the power you need to do it, and you choose not to, you're training your body, you're training your mind to control your body versus your body control your mind. I hope a little bit. I find it helps. And if nothing else, it's just look up Dr. Rhonda Patrick is a doctor, and she gets deep into sauna therapy. And it's just so good for cancers and, sweating out toxins and fighting infection and all of that stuff too. So, yeah.
Though some people come by it naturally by getting beat as a kid too. Being used to pain and taking pain and saying, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, but that's involuntary. I'm talking about voluntary pain.
Oh,
voluntary.
what about when they get hit in the chest by a bull and they say, "Oh, okay."
Hey, look, man, I've done some dumb shit myself. I understand. You know what I mean? I literally fell off of a car that I was trying to surf. And had to
Pain
go to
is
the hospital.
relative. Pain is relative to the person that is receiving it.
Right.
I mean, I've seen people like with their elbows hyperextended, sticking the wrong way with their hand right next to their shoulder, and they're just laying there because they're in shock, but they're not bawling or crying because of the pain or anything. It's really odd. It's really odd.
Yeah, what our body does. And it's in fact, I was watching the thing the other day. They're talking about it's when you can see it. Like if you're disfigured, when your brain can see your body be disfigured, it releases shock to take you out of the pain. But if you can't see it, a lot of times you'll still be in pain. Like you won't go into shock because you don't know where it's coming from. Right. So I don't know if that's true. So I really don't. But yeah, no, pain is absolutely relative. Another thing you realize in situations like that is time is relative. You know what I mean? I promise you.
My word, I know it is.
Minute 34 in a sauna to minute 35, that 1 minute, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Versus 2 hours of doing something you love. You know what I mean? I can tell you that minute goes by longer than this show has. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you that you can live in a different timeline on this earth and still be a part of, like, I can be a part of Mike's life. Mike can be a part of my life. But when nobody else is around, I get to go to a different realm because I don't sleep. See, you guys, hey, you guys are all lucky that I hop on here at noon because that's usually sleepy time for Vern. Because I sleep during the light hours, and then I stay awake at night. Like I said, I believe that all the energy that is negative, 98% of it's asleep. So it's internalizing its own energy while it's asleep, not putting it off out into where I am. So I love dark hours. And it's specifically because of energy, frequencies, and tones.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm just telling you, I know nobody can really live that life, but I get to.
Oh, a
And
lot of
it's,
people work graveyard. Yeah, man.
yeah, it's real. It's real. So yeah, there's a lot of things if you step outside that box I keep talking about and really just read a bunch, and I know you do, and study, you can learn a lot more about yourself,
Yeah.
about who you are. And I really think that's what life's about. Yeah, you can have kids, you can have a family. But you can't ever give them pure love if you never accept who you are. Be who you are, tell the truth about everything about who you were, and not try to lie your entire life about anything.
Yeah.
Just be free, be honest, be kind. It's really easy. Now, there's times where people wrong you and you have to make a statement. Well, you can also make that statement and then that's done and over.
Mhm.
You made your statement, done and over. You said what you had to say. It's done. And then you can move on and still be happy and enjoy whatever those people are doing, because you know that there's an end point. You left it in the past.
Yeah.
You walked past it and now you can be okay with everybody and everything. And it was a space and time, and this is a different space and time.
Absolutely. And yeah, man, it is the past, and you hope people grow. And whether they grow or not, it shouldn't affect your ability to enjoy your life. You know what I mean? Like, right? If if it's just a falling out now, crime is different, blah blah blah. But if it's just what we're talking about, which is people having misunderstandings, disagreements, people screwing
Yeah.
you over, actually, even that shouldn't, if you're able to kind of come through that and heal. And one thing I was thinking when you were talking is in getting to know yourself. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, but
Be
accept them
afraid.
when you make them.
Be afraid if you feel like you're never wrong or you're never making mistakes.
Or
You
never
know?
say sorry.
Yeah. That's rough, man.
I've heard 8 people never say I'm sorry, and I'm 51 years old.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's the narcissistic stuff right there, bro. That's straight Dallas from 1983. Friday nights, 8:00, following the Dukes of Hazzard. Because I watched the Dukes of Hazzard. Then I had to leave the room so they could watch Dallas.
JR, just a good old boys. By the way, that's a great song. It's a great
Oh,
song.
I love that. That was a song I used to do in my show.
Really?
Because you talk about like driving around, right? I used to drive around. I had a trailer. I had a Avalanche, Chevy Avalanche. And I
Mhm.
pulled a trailer, had all my gear in it, and I drove from South Dakota to Colorado to eastern Nebraska, down through Oklahoma into Austin. I was getting fun. Kansas, northern Kansas. I mean, I was getting fun little bar gigs. But my name was enough solo that I could play every weekend in a different town if I want.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
And
fun.
that was nice. That was fun.
That's fun. It wears on the road does wear on you, but it's fun. It's fun for a while.
It really
Yeah.
is. You know, you get to have that experience. If you ever get a chance to have that experience, take it because
I
it teaches
highly
you a lot of lessons. You know,
the road is a game changer. So
Yeah.
for sure.
it sure forms who you become. You know, and it usually is pretty good unless you get really hooked on heroin or
Or
cocaine
alcohol and pills. Yeah, either way, it's bad. But
or this.
well, yeah,
stuff.
no, getting to see people and talk to people and really understanding how different people feel in communities than what you may be getting in the media from people. And you're like, wow, people are really different than what I'm being told they are, you know?
Oh,
So,
dude. Oh my word, dude. Nail, hammerhead, boom.
yeah. So you got to experience it for yourself. But
Yeah.
guys, speaking of experience for yourself, I hope you've had a lovely time.
Word up, everybody. Thanks for hanging so long. We were on
Yeah.
a ship ride today.
Yeah, man, it was great. Screw it, man. We were
fun,
doing
guys.
good. So it is 4:20. It's a great time to go out, guys.
Hey,
Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. We surely appreciate you. And tune in next week. Remember, go to PT Pod on Instagram. We're gonna have great clips uploaded. Definitely by Friday is when we upload all the clips. This is a long show, so
Look
we'll
for
have plenty of
upcoming
clips.
things. Upcoming things
Oh,
will be happening.
Here's
We're gonna
the
discuss
trivia
them.
I thought. Here's the trivia I thought. If you can tell us Vern's favorite college football team, which should be pretty easy if you pay attention. We're giving them an easy. It's not direct, but it should be pretty easy if they pay attention. So if you can tell us Vern's favorite college football team, you'll be a
Has to
winner.
be number one. You can't go with number two.
No,
I had to go for number two.
there you go. Absolutely. So has to be number one. Think about it. We will think about what his favorite team is. Maybe DM him. I'm not telling you he's going to tell you. He might. I don't know. He might like you. He might not. That's up to Vern. Okay. Get
I
your
love
stuff
Michael
together.
Jordan. I love Michael Jordan.
MJ.
Yeah, I love Michael.
I see that, man. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So,
Yeah,
all right, man. We gotta get out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This has been the NoOner Show. Tune in next week. And remember, PT Pod on Instagram for lots of clips. Pay attention to his socials, and mine will be dropping them. Thank you guys so much.
West side.
West side. We are out.